Ladies and gentlemen, it is Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, and you know what that means. It's time for Late Night League, brought to you by Esports Arena. My name is JC Yeso McDonough, and I'm joined by my very good friend, James Latman, returning to the broadcast here in Week 2 of Season 4. Welcome back, James. Good to have you.
Thanks. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excited to kick things off with another week of league action. I've certainly got League of Legends fever right now. We're just finishing up the play-ins stage for Worlds, which has been interesting to say the least. We got to see a couple of best of fives earlier today, and we'll have a couple more early in the morning tomorrow. And let's start there a little bit. You know, preview with some of the play we've been seeing over the weekend. Have you been able to watch some of those games yet?
So I've seen little bits in between school. My roommate's been watching a lot of the tournament, so I've been seeing little tidbits from their screens. North America's been doing a lot better than I thought they would be doing. I think Clutch Gaming was, they've won both of their matches so far.
Yeah, well, so they went 2-2 in the main part of the playing group stage, and then won their tiebreaker against UOL, which was huge because that meant they got that one seed and they were guaranteed to avoid Damwon in the best of 5 part of play-ins, and then they ended up going on in beating Royal Youth, the Turkish representative, 3-0 today in their best of 5. So they do advance to the group stage. Good for them, and it'll be interesting to see how the group draw shakes out there. They looked a little shaky in some of their games. They lost, actually, both of their games to UOL in the main part of the group stage and just won the tiebreaker because everybody traded games in that group. It was Clutch, Unicorns, and Mammoth. Clutch lost to UOL twice. UOL lost to Mammoth twice, and Mammoth lost to Clutch twice. So everybody was 2-2, and they all beat the same teams, and that's how that kind of tiebreaker worked out. So oddly enough, Clutch goes 1-2 against UOL and gets seeded higher than them. But that was huge because, again, they avoid Damwon.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
And they looked a lot more impressive today, I have to say. I watched a majority of the series, and you can obviously say, right, best of ones, it's a totally different animal.
Right.
You know, the drafts can go very differently than expectations, and you can't really adapt, right? So things were a little shaky. They didn't look great against Unicorns in those first 2 games and obviously cleaned it up. And I think they really came out to make a statement today against Royal Youth, and they certainly did. They looked dominant, certainly a lot better than Damwon did, as they actually lost their first game to Low-Key before winning the next 3.
Oh, really?
But it was interesting to see them raise the bar coming into the best of 5, and I think it bodes well for them going into groups because I think they'll come in with a little more confidence, feeling a little more of themselves as they go up against certainly a stronger crop of teams.
Well, you know, this is just standard Clutch Gaming technique. You know, they usually I think from what I remember in LCS, they started slowly. They started the season really slowly. There was a lot of hype around their roster, especially when they were using Piglet. And, you know, once they rotated Piglet out and they got into the middle of the season, they started really to pop off. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that same interaction coming out of them in this Worlds tournament.
Yeah, and Cody Sun certainly has been a boon for the team. He actually went deathless in the entire series today in the full 3-0. Yeah, 2 games on Kai'Sa, 1 on Lucian, so certainly an impressive performance there that earned him Player of the Series. I think well-deserved there. Huni actually got his Rumble at one point in Game 2. And
Can't let him have that.
I don't think he's going to see it the rest of the tournament.
I would be surprised if he did, yeah.
Make sure, guys, you know, we are obviously here for Late Night League, talking about all different kinds of league stuff, but make sure if you want more information about Late Night League, maybe Super Smash Thursdays, Fortnite Frenzy, all that good stuff, head over to esportsarena.com/Walmart. You can see it right down there at the bottom of your screen to get all the info you need. And we're going to actually get right into things here. We've got 3 teams in action tonight. We've got combined brackets for the West and Central, so we actually get to see early on in the season some of these players crossing the boundary here and facing off. So the way the bracket will shake out is we will have a double elimination best of 1 bracket with a best of 3 grand finals. So that should be certainly fun to watch, and about ready to get into our first game. So we will let you know as soon as we're going to drop into that one. But back to the Worlds topic here. Let's break down the meta a little bit. Talk to me about your thoughts about the Worlds patch. We've seen now some competitive games on it. It was interesting to see the draft parties a week ago, as you know, at the lower levels of play. it can be all over the place. People experiment a lot
I think
more.
that's the best way to put it, is it can be all over the place, especially when we're dealing with a tournament that has so many best of ones. Drafts are very unpredictable. The general meta still looks to be somewhat similar to what we were seeing about a month ago. You know, people are going for high priority lane dominant matchups, tempo-based junglers. We're not really seeing much of a tank meta from what I can see at all. I'm not too sure, but is Pantheon still considered one of the strongest characters in the game right now in terms of like support role and outside of it?
I don't think, at least at the top tier play, he isn't seeing that much. He's cropped up a little bit here, and I think that's a big point that you bring up there, is actually the flexibility of him. And that's been something that's been huge for the entirety of League of Legends, but has been especially emphasized over Season 8 and Season 9, right?
Yeah.
Flex picks have been so popular, especially in the solo lanes, but the fact that we've seen things come to the surface now over the last 2 years, like the Pyke, like the Pantheon, that, or even the Sylas, that flex to more than just those solo lanes. You're seeing things in the jungle come into the support role. Maybe they even play that bot lane carry role. So I think Pantheon still brings that power to an extent in draft phase, because you never know where it's going to go. Anybody can play it. So I think it certainly brings that power, but it hasn't been as highly prized as things like the Vladimir, which are cropping up a little bit. The Kiana still has a fairly high priority despite some nerfs. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and I would honestly love to see it played tonight. We actually saw it played last week fairly successfully. It didn't win. But it looked very good in the play. I think the Pantheon game we had started 7-0-2. So got pretty darn fed. But we are going to drop into Champion Select here for our first game of the day. We got Night Raid versus We Need a Fifth. It appears they found one, so we're doing all right for now. But early bans here focused on the jungle there. Sylas and Zach off of the board.
Sylas ban makes a lot of sense. Typically, especially in best of ones, flex picks gain a lot more strength. Because typically, if they pick a flex pick in game 1 of the series, and you see where that flex pick ends up going, you can get an idea of who the intended pilot for that flex pick becomes. But in the best of one, these flex picks have a lot more dynamic, a lot more threat. So it makes sense that they're going to start off the draft banning Sylas.
And for anybody that was watching a week ago, you may recognize some of these names over here on Night Raid. This actually was the team that was split up in the central bracket last week. They had all 10 of their players actually play against each other in that best of 5, and that was certainly interesting to see how things worked with the dynamics of the lineup being split apart. But now they have fully combined their forces here as a singular team representing the central region tonight up against We Need a Fifth. Bans finishing up here. Nunu and Kiana taken off the board. More focus for the junglers, as well as the Sejuani's out, and the Morgana, the final ban there for We Need a Fifth.
Yeah, the Morgana ban's really indicating that We Need a Fifth's bot lane is planning on playing a pretty aggressive bot lane. I'm expecting picks such as Rakan, maybe Thresh, Blitzcrank, and Leona as well is another really strong pick right now that is heavily countered by the Morgana.
In the Blitzcrank, something to keep an eye on, as well as we saw I believe it was on 919, the buff to his range on his rocket grab. Another 100 range on an already fairly long range skill shot. I haven't tested it, but I heard rumblings that you can pull blue buff from river with the range. That's what I heard. I need to test it out, so don't quote me on that. I will make sure to get into the practice tool and test that out. But if anybody in Twitch chat has experimented with it or can take a quick peek, I would love to know. But that is just absolutely insane. And we actually saw it in the series today for Clutch. So it's rising a little bit in priority. Obviously also had the buff adding the shield breaking to his ultimate patches ago. So definitely interesting to see the crank back in the meta here. So we are getting through Champion Select. The first pick, Ahri, for Night Raid was followed up by Brand, Malphite, now Night Raid with their chance to respond.
Yeah, it looks like so far the teams are prioritizing comfort picks for the most part. None of these are really strong flex picks. I think the Brand can be flexed from mid and support, but it's most likely going into the support role, which makes the Morgana ban a little bit interesting. And here we see the Pantheon.
Yes, and I believe it was Captain Moser that brought it out a week ago to fairly good early to mid-game success. We'll have to see if he can have a repeat performance on that front. Now We Need a Fifth with their third pick. They are going to grab the Aurelia there. There's one of those flex picks you're hoping for, as well as Aurelia certainly can go to either of the solo lanes. We would expect mid lane with that Malphite already locked in, but there is certainly some flexibility there.
Actually, one thing I've been running into in my solo queue games and around D1 Master rank, D1 Master range is Malphite jungle is very common.
Okay.
Or I wouldn't say very common, but I've definitely seen it more than a handful of times. Typically, you just go Predator on the Malphite. You don't do anything levels 1 through 5, and then from level 6 and onward, you just keep clicking Predator. You run down people, run people down, throw your Q at them. They have to flash away, then you ult them when they flash. So it's definitely really lame to play against. I think it's a really strong jungle pick with lanes like Brand and Irelia, since both of those lanes have stuns to chain CC with the Malphite ult. I wouldn't be surprised to see if that does end up being the Malphite jungle.
Now, how's his clear there? Because that's one thing that's always talked about with these levels. I mean, junglers in general, but especially the level 6 ones, because you need to get to that as quickly as possible. How quick is that? Can he get to that level 6 quickly enough to be effective before the game may get out of hand?
So I don't think it's actually all that fast. I think it's definitely a clear that can be easily taken advantage of with a higher tempo-based jungler. But I don't think Vi is really one of those junglers that can very effectively take advantage of that clear deficit. Vi is another jungler that's typically going to be rushing to level 6 in a similar timing as a Malphite. She might be a little bit faster, which may or may not end up being a pretty large advantage for, since, you know, both of these junglers are racing to that level 6. That should be when we will see the first point of contest for both of these teams. But we'll see how that plays out.
The one thing that the Gitrog monster should have in those first 5 levels is higher dueling potential. The Malphite obviously fairly tanky and obviously has the shield to work with, but Vi can be very annoying if Gitrog monster wants to go aggressive and push into the jungle. And with an Ahri Pantheon setup here, could have the lane priority to try and play aggressively and maybe put Big Boy Gaming behind enough if he takes the Malphite. Obviously still dependent on where they throw that pick, but it's certainly an option here as we do finish up the second ban phase here. A couple of 80 carries taken off the board, Jinx and Kai'Sa. As well as the Nautilus ban by Night Raid. Not sure if that was just a missed ban or what there, but that's only 4 bans for Night Raid as the Nico is locked in, and the response is the Twitch.
So one thing I want to point out here is, so we see that the We Need the Fifth has picked Nico and Brand. I would like to go ahead and guess that it's going to be a Nico Brand bot lane. And they banned Jinx and Kai'Sa as the AD carries on the enemy team side. So that indicates that they were trying to avoid a scenario where the enemy team is able to pick a scaling AD carry, which is essentially one of the best options you have against Nico Brand. The lane is really hard. But you'll have that scaling advantage. Nico Brand definitely doesn't. Oh, it will end up being a Nico Thresh. But the same point still stands. We Need a Fifth wanted to make sure that the Night Raid does not pick a scaling AD carry, but they end up getting one in the Twitch anyway.
And you do get the Malphite jungle you were asking for there with the Nico in the bottom lane, and we'll actually see the Irelia flexed up to the top side. So we expected the Brand to go bot, but with the way things shake out, we will actually get that mid lane carry Brand. So a Brand that is already really effective in the support position as long as you can survive with the lower income here. They could throw the Brand bot. That's certainly an option.
That would be really interesting. Okay, so they could end up just swapping all these picks all over again at 20 seconds into the countdown. But if we do see a Brand bot lane, that is a pick that's very vulnerable to a Leona. Leona, if she ever lands any E's on the Brand, if that's just unable to flay that E, he will drop like a fly from level 6 and onwards. But if he doesn't, that Brand is going to bully the crap out of Twitch. That's a very hard laning phase for Twitch to survive through. Yeah,
Twitch with that short range can be very punishable by the Brand if he's able to land the Pyroclasm, and subsequent stuns can be very scary because then you can combo that up with the Death Sentence and set up some very susceptible Twitch plays here. So interesting the way, really, We Need a Fifth kind of defying all expectations as the draft went on here. We do get that Malphite jungle. So I'm really hoping, as we mentioned earlier, Night Raid, try and get some early lane priority. Work with the Ahri and the Pantheon to try and push your solo lanes, and then hopefully Gitrog Monster then can try and punish some of the weaknesses in the early game of the Malphite, because if you can get him behind, delay that level 6, it just opens up more opportunities for your team. But if Big Boy Gaming has that safe first 6 levels, he's definitely got a lot of opportunities to punish these lanes. Pantheon does not have any mobility unless he's going in with his stun. Ahri, if she has access to the ultimate, certainly brings that to the table, but the Twitch is very susceptible, so there certainly are some great opportunities for We Need a Fifth if they can get to level 6 safely.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would like to see from Night Raid is, so like you touched on it perfectly. They have three picks in their top mid jungle where they do want to be playing through the early game through their solo lanes. However, they have a very gank heavy lane in the bot lane where you have a Leona against a Thresh. That's typically a lane matchup where whichever bot lane is able to get their jungler involved first will take a huge advantage. And when you have a bot lane dynamic between a Twitch and a Brand where the Brand is able to heavily punish the Twitch, yes, but if they're able to blow the Brand's flash on early in the lane, it's going to be really hard for him to actually be actively pushing the Twitch into his jungle and punishing him with max range Pillars of Flame when he has to be worried about every time Leona can cast E on him. So I would really like this. I really like to see the Vi be able to path straight bottom, maybe after her first buff, get a cheese gank off on bot lane, and then spend the rest of the early game focusing on her solo lanes. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it there. That's another difference in the jungle matchup, right? Is Vi is obviously more powerful when you get to that level 6, but there are opportunities with your Q to get into lanes a little earlier, and when you combine that with a Leona, it actually could be very, very scary. So it's going to be integral for We Need a Fifth to get some good vision down on the bottom side and make sure they're protecting themselves from any early action coming from the jungle of the side of Night Raid. So I think this early game is extremely important. How these first 5 to 6 levels play out could really determine how the entire game goes, and it's going to be interesting to follow. The junglers, I think, are just going to be so key here. Jungles and supports could really dictate how this game swings.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of rare that we would say that with two junglers that are going to be rushing to level 6, like Divine and the Malphite. But again, we have such susceptible lanes in the bot lane, and we have such jungle-dependent matchups in the solo lanes. So it's definitely an interesting dynamic that we're seeing here, where you have two junglers who really will typically want to just be hard farming their jungle, just rushing their ass to level 6 as fast as possible. But yeah, I'm really interested to see which jungler is able to actually influence the bot lane first. I really doubt it'll be the Malphite. But the Malphite definitely does want to be there for a counter gank if his Brand is planning on pushing the Twitch into tower, you know, landing poke under the tower and really taking advantage of his range advantage.
Yeah, so definitely going to have to keep track of how the junglers are pathing early and then very heavily focus on that lane priority around those solo lanes. That could definitely dictate which teams have those early opportunities. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that as things kick off. But we do, just before we drop into the game, want to thank you guys all so much for joining us. It's really exciting to be back for Season 4 of Late Night League. Week 1 is fun, was fun, excuse me. A big thank you again to Degon and Invirum for coming to join us last week. It was certainly a blast to work with them and hope they had a good time here. And hope you guys enjoyed the cast, but we are ready to kick into Week 2 of Season number 4. The competition is heating up as all these teams are trying to rack up points heading towards our Season 4 finals. Cash is on the line every week and better prizes as we get to those finals. Remember, your best points performers, from the West and Central will represent their regions in our Season 4 Grand Final in week number 8. Again, head over to esportsarena.com/Walmart for any more information about all of our leagues. And make sure to come out and see us, guys, Monday nights at all of our locations here in Santa Ana, Oakland, out in Roseville, Spokane, Tulsa, Fort Worth, Colorado Springs, all over the place. Come in and check us out. Come participate. We love to interact with all of you folks. Hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we are, but we're right about ready to kick into game here with Week 2 of Late Night League Season 4. It's definitely going to be a good one.
Yeah, really excited to see this match. Again, Malphite jungle. I have nightmares of it for my solo queue games, man. Like, so many games where as soon as the enemy mid laner gets a push advantage, I just know that, like, I have to give that minion wave away that they're about to crash into my tower because Malphite's going to come with Predator and he's going to hound me down even if I wait like a screen away. Like, I'm really excited to see if that ends up happening to the Twitch over and over. That would be definitely a nightmare in his shoes, but as me as a caster and not the AD carry for once, I'm going to be really happy to see that.
You can breathe a sigh of relief. Malphite's not coming for you. You just get to be the, omniscient third party watching everybody else suffer at the hand of that big old rock.
Oh, it's so sweet. Finally, like, because, AD carries just are so used to just getting slaughtered by every role in the game, Like, it's really just the nature of AD carry. I'm really excited to finally be on the other side of that, to watch this Twitch just get beaten to the ground by Malphite.
Yeah, we certainly could see those big fiestas in the bottom lane. It's certainly a possibility here as we get into game here. Night Raid, and we need a fifth. Our first game of week number 2. We are on to the Rift. in this best of one to kick off the bracket. We'll see if anybody wants anything spicy early. A little stack on the Pixel Brush here. Probably Night Raid, but looks like a line of scrimmage start from We Need a Fifth, so I don't expect any early action. And I actually like this. This is something that a friend of mine, my main duo partner, who's a jungler, does a lot. Is you come out, you get that early ward as a jungler, you immediately back, grab the red trinket to try and deny vision after that point. So the Gitrog monster will be focused on trying to deny some of that vision. Good charm onto Jackson James. It's actually with some solid damage onto the Nico. Yeah, Jackson James actually forced the flash. I don't know if that was necessary.
I don't think he needed a flash just all that early, but I think he didn't need it to end up. He would have had to end up flashing there, I'm pretty sure.
I think at that point you probably, it's hard, but you probably want to reactively flash because what you're really worried about is the flash charm from the Ahri.
Yeah.
You know she has it, so I think you can probably play for the reactive flash and at least try and trade it out. But now that's a huge summoner spell advantage in the mid lane, so we'll have to see if the Gitrog monster tries to get there early and punish that summoner spell lost here. Both junglers will start on the top side of the map, grabbing those respective buffs, and they'll be heavily focused on those clears to start things off, though. The Gitrog monster actually going to head straight up towards topside, looking for a level 2 gank.
Yeah, so here we're seeing a cheese gank come out opposite side of the map of what I expected it to come through, but it looks like he's just sitting there in the bush waiting for Irelia to eventually queue the backline minions, and hopefully he's going to try to go on that. And here he goes, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be successful from the minimap.
Yeah, Ayumi actually just able to back away there, spots out the Vi very early, and that means sadly Gitrog monster just wasting a bit of time. We talked about those early clear speeds, and the Gitrog monster certainly has the advantage in that department. It's a good death sensor. Captain Jarth's in trouble, and that's first blood for We Need a Fifth.
Oh, and even more importantly, that was Twitch's heal as well, so he's definitely going to be very susceptible to the next hook that lands on him. He's going to have to blow flash if Thresh ever lands a hook on him for the rest of the lane, or at least until that heals back up.
Rough start for Night Raid here. Obviously, We Need a Fifth would have preferred that kill to be on the Brand, but still able to grab first blood. A little extra gold in the Thresh's pocket. Now Beastlance forced under tower so far, down a few CS here, able to avoid that death sentence.
Malphite to punish his Pantheon.
Yeah, a lot of pressure being put up by the Pantheon, but it may come back to bite him here. Ayumi's going to grab the kill there as a pre-6 gank from the Malphite jungle works out.
Damn, that's pretty incredible, especially considering the Vi spent so much time up there in the top side of the map on her first initial clear. That really should bite her in the ass. That's really great for the Malphite. To be able to land a gank before level 6, you got to feel great about that one.
That really just stems from disrespect from Hawaii versus Gaming. You know your top side isn't the strong side of the map here, as Ayumi's actually taking a lot of damage here. Hawaii versus Gaming is in the minion wave. We'll take a lot of damage there, but it's still going to be the solo kill for the Pantheon as the Flash has forced that a Beastlant there. Another good death sentence from the Gilly Man.
Yeah, so Malphite definitely was feeling good about that last gank, but that has to completely cancel the feeling. You know, he was just there like 30 seconds ago, got his laner a kill, and then his laner goes and dies like seconds later. That's definitely, it feels bad, man. But, you know, Pantheon's here to catch the wave. Irealia's keeping up some pressure. That was definitely a good time to take a trade.
Yeah, I would just say a lot of disrespect from both top laners, right? You've got Hawaii versus Gaming heavily pushing. You know topside isn't your strong side of the map because Gitrog Monster has gone down to take the red buff and doesn't drop any wards. He has no vision up there, is pushing without any knowledge, and Big Boy Gaming is easily able to walk in there and punish the aggression. And then, yeah, Ayumi staying way too long. And Hawaii versus Gaming is able to just teleport back to lane, grab the solo kill, and even things up there as dead even in the CS department. The one advantage is that extra long sword there for Ayumi.
Yeah, you know, I'm really afraid for this Twitch, by the way. He's got no summoners at all. Thresh is able to play up as much as he wants to. Thresh does have the flash, so if this wave ever starts pushing out and Twitch wants to hit backline minions, Thresh can always go in for a flash play, and that could very well mean a dead rat then and there.
Yeah, especially because of the follow-up of the Brand. Another good death sentence there. That's going to be the stun. The Flame misses on a Captain Jarth, but wow. Brand doing a lot of damage so far, but we are going to possibly see a gank from the Vi here. The Gitrog Monster trying to set things up. Beastlance is stealth, going to try and get in behind the bottom lane. Captain Jarth actually playing very passive, walking back towards the river, but they do maybe have the setup here. Good Lantern will get Finch Lager's out of the
Malphite's around for a
way.
counter gank.
Uh-oh, Gitrog Monster's in trouble. He's burning from the Ignite. Can he get away? One more auto attack is not going to come through for the Gilly Man, but is still going to get the death sentence. One kill there for Beastlands as Captain Jarth flashes away. Can he escape? He's solo. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Ayumi's going to get the solo kill. We're going to see blood, folks. Captain Jarth goes down. Big Boy Gaming grabs the kill, and we need a fifth has a big lead.
Wow, so much action from these junglers, especially considering everything we said in the early game about, these junglers should be wanting to go for full clears, probably wouldn't be visiting lanes as much as we thought they would. But here we see, a solo kill from the top side. Irelia really, bringing back justice to her name, making do for the for her getting solo killed right after the gank. And a lot of action in the bot side. Both of these junglers being at bot side in the right place at the right time. Malphite coming in with a great gank. Thresh did a really good job of baiting that whole scenario out. Unfortunately, he didn't get his flash off just in time to deny the kill, but now he still has the flash available to punish a flashless Twitch, which again is a really big deal, especially in the lane where Brand can deal so much damage and has such a range advantage.
Both teams really just smelling blood in the water in these first 6.5 minutes, just looking for fight after fight. We're just south of a kill per minute right now. Just over 1,000 gold lead for. We need a fifth, up 4-2-2 in kills, and the first Drake is a Mountain Drake, not the highest priority this early in the game, but any kills bottom lane could set up some action, and this could be it. Beastlands, you are not going to be able to get away here. Death Sentence, he is going to land perfect from the Gilly Man. The heal comes through. He doesn't have the flay available, and Beastlands will actually escape using the heal.
Yeah, so their Brand actually misplayed that pretty hard. He went and used both his pillar and his stun right in the middle of a minion wave. He actually ended up whiffing the pillar as well. I think in that situation, if Brand just continued to auto-attack and walk forward with the Thresh had the right idea, by the way. Thresh was just following the Twitch, staying on top of him and following with autos, waiting to use his spell shot until after Twitch eventually got out of the minion wave. If Brand was able to hold his spells for just a little bit longer, that would have definitely been a dead Twitch.
Well, Beastlands does survive for now, but Captain Jarth taking a lot of poke from Finch Laggers. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Hawaii versus Gaming is in trouble. Will not survive here as Ayumi's going to grab it. He is third kill of the game.
Man, another gank on top lane from the Malphite, pre-level 6, I might add.
Oh, they're going for the dive here. Captain Jarth is going to go down. The Gilly Man will fall in return as Beastlands is able to grab that kill. Does he follow here? He wards over the wall. Does go into stealth. Meanwhile, Big Boy Gaming takes a lot of damage from Captain Moser. Captain Moser can follow here, has the ultimate. That's the Ignite. Oh, actually jukes out the Unstoppable Force. Beautiful from the Ahri. Big Boy Gaming will get away thanks to the flash, but what a play.
Jackal finisher.
Oh, Gitrog Monster is going to fall. Meanwhile, Captain Moser dueling with Jackson James. The collapse from Ayumi, and that's going to be the Ahri falling here as both bot laners will actually trade the double kill for the Brand.
Wow, a Dragon Ball Z moment there at the end of that skirmish in bot lane. Wow, so much action going on around the mid lane now. These two teams really are just throwing everything we thought was going to happen out the window with this jungle matchup dynamic. Malphite, not having the ult now is going to be a very big deal considering that Vi is going to be coming out in this next jungle clear with her ultimate ready. Interested to see what Night Raid will do with that advantage.
Interestingly enough, too, you talk about defying our expectations that we kind of set up around this jungle matchup. The Gitrog Monster has a single assist in the first 9 minutes and has yet to hit level 6. Meanwhile, Big Boy Gaming is 1-0-2, missed his first ultimate, but still has had just way more effectiveness across the map this early. Uh-oh, big trouble here. Gitrog Monster, you may not get level 6 yet, caught out here, doesn't have flash, and Big Boy Gaming will get his second kill here, take away the red buff. There's going to be some damage traded back here as the Brand is going to take a lot here. They're going to engage. Beastlands is so low, but will get the shutdown and the triumph to keep him alive there. So disrespect from the Brand will cost Finch Lager his life.
I just want to point out that was excellent usage of river control from the Gilly Man. He used the fact that his team was able to control that. Oh, Malphite coming in for a little bit of damage on the Ahri. He does have ult ready.
Yeah, and the follow-up from Gilly Man is here. That's going to be the engage. No ultimate from Captain Moser, and Big Boy Gaming grabs his third.
Such good timing. His ult just came off of cooldown as well when he was there waiting for the Ahri to get back into the lane. And that's a huge pickoff. Nico's really getting a lot of damage on this mid lane tower. Thresh is doing such a phenomenal job, by the way, of moving around the map.
Oh, Jackson James trying to escape here, but it's just going to get dogpiled. Oh, by the combo, and actually is able to juke him out. They follow the clone, and Jackson James is actually able to retreat to safety. Beautiful pink ward. They're going to try and engage here. No ultimate for the Malphite, but still a lot of damage, and the CC from the Thresh may just be enough. The Q away from the Gitrog monster, still burning from the Ignite, but there's the snare from Jackson James. Hawaii versus Gaming has to escape, is going to go in for the stun, gets the kill, and tries to trade back. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, again, Finchliger's taking so much damage. A Beastlance will grab the kill as Hawaii versus Gaming falls.
You know, I just wanted to point out again, Thresh is doing such a phenomenal job of moving around the map, but however, all Brand has to do when Thresh is making these movements is sit under his tower and wait. Both of these 2 times that the Brand has died, the wave is actually pushing towards him. All he has to do is sit back, miss a couple of last hits, and then just catch the wave under tower, but instead he's standing out here, he's still trying to use his range advantage while his Thresh isn't in the lane, and that's really the only thing that Night Raid has going for them. Notice how Twitch is now 5-1 in a game where all the rest of his roles are dying over and over. This is actually a very big deal. This is the one reason that We Need a Fifth was going out in that second ban rotation, banning scaling 80 carries, is because they recognize that the one threat that they have from Night Raid is a scaling 80 carry, and Twitch is coming out with 5 kills. Malphite going over the wall for a gank.
This could be big trouble here. Beastlance is going to get knocked up. They are going to be able to spot him out. Here comes the follow-up from the Killing Man. Finchliger's going to grab 1 kill, looking for a second. Captain Jarth is trying to run, but there's nowhere to hide. Big Boy Gaming grabs that kill.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they need to be doing over and over, I think, for the rest of this early game. They really need to start putting that Twitch where he belongs, you know, in the dirt. That Twitch needs to be dying over and over in the lane matchup like this. And, you know, putting Malphite ults there, actually, they didn't even, oh no, they did use the Malphite ult there. Yeah, that's a very good allocation of where you're going to be putting that ultimate.
Assault and Battery not available for the Gitrog monster there, so Jackson James able to just back away to safety, and Ayumi actually roaming down to provide a little bit of a release of pressure there. Hawaii versus Gaming wanted to respond, but is actually, rightly so, terrified of this Aurelia. Will just back away to safety, and Ayumi can head back up to the top lane. Meanwhile, some plates picked up by We Need a Fifth in the bottom lane.
Oh, going for a little bit of a cheese play.
Oh, the Brand actually gives it away.
Yeah. You know, and that's actually a pretty big deal, because, oh, going for the flash ult.
Ooh, Captain Jarth able to force the flash out of Finchligers here. Pop Blossom is used. Captain Moser going to get caught. Here comes the follow-up. Unstoppable Force will help secure the kills. Captain Moser falls, but it's 1-for-1. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Finchligers needs the damage. The Twitch is actually dead. Captain Jarth, can you get away? There's no way. Yeah, it's got to be the play. The death sentence lands. Finchliger should be able to finish the kill. It's the shutdown in the mid lane as Hawaii versus Gaming is here. Ayumi able to follow up, but it's a double kill for the Brand and an 13-minute ace
at that. Wow, what an absolute bloodbath. I just want to point out that bot lane situation going in We Need a Fifth's favor was huge. You know, the fact that they stayed for those tower plating stacks, that really put them behind tempo. And then them getting caught with that bush cheese play, if they were able to, you know, just keep playing a farm game on Night Raid side, that is, if they were able to just keep the enemy bot lane in lane without actually committing to an all-in, that would have ended up developing into a very big advantage on their part. But, you know, they went in for the all-in, a very aggressive all-in at that, and it really ends up biting them in the ass.
So a couple of things to track here. One, we are at a combined 2 kills per minute for this game, which is extremely buddy, right? We're just about to hit the 14-minute mark. Another thing to note, all plates taken in top and bottom lane, as well as 4 in the mid lane by We Need a Fifth. So they are so flush with gold right now. Up just about 9,000 gold here at just 14 minutes into the game. So obviously the Twitch is a minor problem for them right now. Obviously sitting at 5-3, he's got the Infinity Edge and working on his second item now, but the rest of the map for We Need a Fifth is so unbelievably fed that Beastlance shouldn't be allowed to become too big of an issue.
Oh wow, that damage. Popping the barrier.
It's really just in these 1v1 and 2v2 spots that he should be a problem if they can't get onto him, but it really feels like as the participation goes up in these team fights, as We Need a Fifth gets more and more people to these fights, it should be much more difficult for Beastlance to survive, as they will force out the flash in mid lane there from Hawaii versus Gaming. They want to finish off this final tier 1. Finchligers looking for some damage here. Is going to land the stun, the Pillar of Flame as well. The passive follow-up will finish off the Pantheon, and another kill for the Brand.
Again, excellent usage of this river vision control coming out of We Need a Fifth. They're really doing a great job of controlling that area and make sure that they have pink dominance. Going for the dive now.
Yeah, Captain Moser is going to be able to escape thanks to the ultimate, but it will secure that final tier 1 tower as that Goldie continues to grow. Death Sentence just a little short. Ayumi going to have to walk out of tower range there as the minion wave is gone.
One thing to point out, Malphite does have his ult ready with this Rift Herald. We shouldn't be too surprised to see a dive play coming out of We Need a Fifth as this Herald cashes into tower. They do have Brand ult and Malphite ult ready. These are two very large combo. This is a huge combo. It looks like they're going to go ahead and let the Herald crash into the tower without backing it up. Never mind, there's the dive.
Oh, goodbye, Captain Moser. The setup gets the kill there. The Gitrog monster is going to take some damage as well as here comes the Pantheon. Tower so low here, but they're going to try and get on to the Gillyman, but there's the Pop Blossom, going to lock down two. The Gillyman surviving as long as he can. Big Boy Gaming grabs one. It's a 1-for-1, but now the 3-for-1 in favor of We Need a Fifth. Beastlands wants to trade back. Finchliger's going low, is going to be taken out, but the Twitch is going to be collapsed on and taken out. That's the ace there. Another one for We Need a Fifth.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, you know, it might feel good getting that kill, especially when, you know, the rest of your team has died during that fight. But you as the Twitch in this scenario, you are the only ray of hope your team has. Your Flash is really the most valuable summoner in this entire game right now. The only exception maybe a... Oh my goodness. That is so dirty. This Malphite is 817.
I mean, Big Boy Gaming essentially using his Unstoppable Force on cooldown right now. And, I mean, we might need to change Night Raid's name to We Need a Sixth with all the pressure that's getting put out by the team on the red side right now. We Need a Fifth is just continuing to take it to Night Raid right now, up 26-11 in kills. Now their gold lead sitting at 12,000, 5 towers to 0. We Need a Fifth. I mean, and you already mentioned the Malphite. So fed, 8-1-7, just continuing to make plays around the map. And Ayumi, interesting to note, after dying early, right, getting punished for that greed on the minion wave after getting that kill in the top lane, Ayumi has come back from it and looked great, sitting at 7-1-1 right now, looking for a second item. And the Gitrog monster just going to get soloed out by Ayumi. Doesn't even care about Beastlands.
Yeah, things are looking really good for Night Raid. Again, they do have the scaling advantage in the Twitch, but I think throughout the rest of the team comp, it isn't really that much of a scaling advantage. Malphite actually scales pretty well. He is going for a full AP build, so that's not too well. But the Malphite is absolutely able to one-shot this Twitch throughout the rest of the game, considering the amount of gold he has at this point in the game. And once again, We Need a Fifth is keeping up with, I mean, this kill score in total is basically more than 2 kills a minute at this point. They're doing a great job of accelerating the game and preventing Twitch from getting any chance of really scaling into the late game.
And I think when you talk about that AP Malphite build here, is Ayumi's going to take a lot of damage, but able to flash away from danger for now. It's another Brand ultimate there. Finchliger's getting so much damage, and here comes Big Boy Gaming. He just blows up Captain Moser. He will die in return, but does still get the double kill on Ayumi. Going in between the towers here. Here comes help. The Pop Blossom isn't even needed. Is Ayumi able to go legendary, taking down Captain Moser, and they're looking for the dive here. Hawaii versus Gaming going to try and escape, going to get flayed right into the box. Jackson James taking a lot of damage here, but able to back at a tower range. Another ace here as We Need a Fifth is popping off. I wanted to touch on, you talk about the full AP build for the Malphite, and typically it's so feast or famine, but when you're this fed and you're going against a 0 tank composition, right? Because while Captain Jarth is a pseudo tank as a support, with how far behind he is in gold, he's never really going to be that big. Big Boy Gaming can essentially one-shot anybody on Night Raid right now.
Yeah, this is a wet dream for Malphite jungle players out there. First of all, you guys are evil. Malphite jungle is absolutely, oh my goodness, this is a nightmare for any Twitch player. Seeing a Malphite jungle with 10 kills, 19 minutes into the game, like, he's not going to survive the rest of this game without getting Malphite ulted, and that is going to be a one-shot for a very long period of time. Twitch needs to get an MR item right now, but the thing is, when you're this far behind in gold, when the rest of your team is this far behind in items, you as an AD carry, you really need to be trying to cut corners wherever you can and going for a full damage build. Oh, here's another hit. Oh, another
goodbye. Hawaii versus Gaming locked down by the combo of We Need a Fifth. And right now, I don't know that they need a fifth. All they really need is a Nexus at this point. They've taken the middle inhibitor. Flash. Death Sentence will not land from the Gillyman. He's actually going to get collapsed on here. May go down, but is able to set up the play on a Hero Monster. Here's the Pop Blossom. Good job getting into the center there by Jackson James. One's going to go down, but Beastlands is already dead. Make it 3, 4, and 5. Double kill for Ayumi, another ace here, and we need a fifth at just over 20 minutes. A commanding victory here as they will take this game over Night Raid.
And such an explosive game. They almost had, their team alone almost has 2 kills a minute. Okay, Patek going for a pretty nice 1-for-1.
They needed another ace here.
Yeah, oh my goodness. But again, almost 2 kills a minute on their own. Not even regarding your Night Raid skills at all here. Such a commanding lead and such a great way of accelerating the game and you know, taking away any win conditions that Night Raid had at all.
An impressive performance there. Not the cleanest we've seen, but really, we need a fifth came in with a game plan. We're going to fight, and we're going to fight, and we're going to fight some more. And they did that from minute 1. And interestingly enough, really, Big Boy Gaming taking what we saw as a bit of a weakness, right? That early leveling from the Malphite.
Yeah.
Not as good of an early clear, and really has to wait for level 6 typically to affect those lanes, but actually gets set up very well in the top lane to get that kill for Ayumi, and then really took that and ran with it. He was all over the map, using the unstoppable force at will.
On cooldown.
Exactly.
Pretty much on cooldown,
and putting out so much pressure, and really was the linchpin of this win for We Need a Fifth. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, what an amazing performance from that Malphite jungle. One thing I wanted to point out from Night Raid, I think a missed opportunity on their part was, you know, I remember seeing at the start of that game, Night Raid did end up being able to chunk out the enemy mid laner when Nico's sitting there during the 5 point. Typically, when you do chunk out an enemy mid laner that late into the opening minute, 30 seconds of the game, that's a pretty good indicator that if you do have a ward on the starting jungle camp, you should be able to go for a late invade. And I think that's what they needed to do in order to take advantage of a low clear jungler like Malphite. However, they missed out on that opportunity, and it really snowballed into a very clean game for the Malphite.
We are into Champion Select for our second game of the day. We've actually got number 730 going up against Upper Moon here. We'll let kind of Champion Select kick off here. Any final points that you kind of want to touch on to close out that game before we head into the next one?
I mean, once again, it was a total bloodbath. If I was that Twitch player, I will be having nightmares. Not only playing against a brand in the bot lane,
Sure.
but a freaking Malphite jungle with a brand.
Yeah.
Really just a rough game coming out from him. You know, really hard to play those kinds of games.
Yeah, definitely a rough one for Beastlands there. You know, a very consistent performer, and we certainly have high expectations of him. So, you know, hope to see a rebound from Beastlands as the bracket continues here for Late Night League Week 2. So certainly some other opportunities there for him to come around. And, you know, it's not easy playing one of those low mobility, short range 80 carries into anything with that kind of setup CC, right?
And
You've got to deal with a Thresh plus any sort of follow-up from an Aurelia diving on top of you in a Malphite. So
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily set up for success, but we'll see if he can, you know, pick up the pieces and recover later in the day. But we are into Champion Select here, folks. Again, number 730 versus Upper Moon, and getting through the first ban phase here. Some early focus to the jungle for number 730 as they will take the Echo and Kha'Zix off of the board and finish off with the Rakan. And solo lane focus from Upper Moon, Katarina and Vladimir taken off the board.
Yeah, this time around we're seeing some more actual meta-centric bans here. The Katarina does seem to be more of a one-trick ban, and the Kha'Zix might as well be, maybe not a one-trick ban, but you know, Kha'Zix is a pretty high-damage jungler, a pretty scary jungler to play against. But the Vlad, the Echo, and the Rakan are meta picks in this current stage of League of Legends. The Yasuo ban is another pretty interesting pick, or interesting ban at least.
All right, now we have first pick here from number 730. I want to talk about the Echo jungle a little bit. Obviously, we won't see it played in this game, but it saw a ton of presence early on in the playing group stages at Worlds, and it wasn't very successful in the win column. And it was talked about a lot because so many it's cropping up in solo queue a ton. You know, it's a classic jungle pick that I used to love to play when jungle was kind of my second role, and it used to have so much flexibility. And now, not quite as much because you used to see so many. You could go the full damage build, or you could go tanko because his base damages were so high. But we're seeing just a heavy focus on the damage this time around. But the talk around it after it was losing so much was really, you can't set up a lot of your plays. You do bring some solid damage to the table, and you can obviously reset fights once you have that level 6, but you don't set up plays very well. And a lot of people were talking about, around the pro play aspect of it, that was what it was really struggling with, is that you can come in and do a lot of damage, but you don't set things up for your lanes. It's maybe had more success in scrims and solo queue. I'm hoping we get to see it today to see how these junglers are able to bring it out and maybe have some effectiveness, maybe some more gank setup from their lanes. But do you have any thoughts on the Echo jungle as it has kind of returned to the meta after quite a long absence?
I think you touched on it pretty well by the fact that, at the highest level of tournament play, especially in a tournament like Worlds, there's nothing really harder to make plays happen against pro teams that are scared. Pro teams that are scared, especially in best-of-1 formats where they are afraid to make plays, you really need champions that are able to jump out there and, blow their flash, blow their ult, and no matter what, something is going to happen. And Echo is just not one of those champions. But, outside of a dynamic like that, in games where the pros are feeling a little bit more comfortable, where skirmishes are happening a little bit more frequently, Echo is definitely still a strong pick in my opinion. He was having a lot of success in the scrims and tournament matches that my own team was playing in this last Scouting Grounds play-in just a couple weeks ago. And I'm not surprised to see him being picked at Worlds, but I do think it's a very good point that, especially in the early phases of the Worlds tournament where teams are still in the best-of-1 format and teams are still afraid of really committing to these early game skirmishes, it should be harder to make things happen with an Echo.
All right, well, we'll see if it comes out later in the day and if it comes out to any success. But to kind of recap where we're sitting at in the draft phase, finishing up the second ban phase here, the last two bans from Upper Moon focused towards the bottom lane with the Morgana and Xayah taken off the board. So that entire Lovers duo is banned away. On the other side, more focused towards the bot laners is, again, Jinx, Kai'Sa taken off the board. An interesting setup here. We've got a Riven picked up, which is always fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
The entire top side of the map set up for number 730 as Ryze will play Ryze, and we will get the Riven in the top lane in a Kayn jungle. Meanwhile, Pyke, which we actually saw picked in a solo lane for the first time in a while in today's best of fives at Worlds.
Oh, was he?
It was, yeah. It was actually taken by Low-Key Esports in Game 2 against Damwon. It didn't work out because what we've seen over the last few months with the nerfs towards Pyke was really them heavily targeting his wave clear, right? Because he just brought so much to the table, so they heavily targeted his wave clear, and then it was just, you can bring a lot to the table, but you're really having to wait for those mid-game team fights to pop off and really have that huge influx of gold into your team. But if you can't do that, you just don't have a top laner or mid laner wherever you put the Pyke. So it did really work out in that instance. It will go to the support role here, which is where we're really only seeing it for the majority of the time now. Obviously, great setup down there, beautiful crowd control. But interestingly enough, we get the Veigar bot in a Twitch jungle. So Twitch 2 games in a row, but we're going to see it in 2 different roles.
Yeah, that was one thing that I was wondering about this entire draft, really, was, Upper Moon picked that Twitch before the second rotation of bans, and then number 730 went ahead and banned Jinx and Kai'Sa. So I was looking at that and just thinking, like, what the heck? Why would you ban 2 AD carries when you see a clear AD carry from the other side's pick? But it looks like they were aware of the Twitch jungle being a possibility. Another thing to point out, Ryze got Ryze.
Ryze did get Ryze. Little on the nose there, but I'm on board with it. He knows his champion pool well, and Upper Moon willing to let him have it. More focus, I guess, to mid laners that they feel could get a little more out of control. Obviously, Ryze can be a strong pick, and you get kind of the map mobility and team play from his ultimate. But I can understand them looking, if they're looking at Ryze's champion pool and saying, he plays Katarina, Vladimir, and Yasuo as well. I might be a little more scared of those picks and understanding of those bans.
Definitely, yeah. I would absolutely be more afraid of a Katarina and a Vlad myself. Ryze is a champion that is a force to be reckoned with, but when you have so much CC coming out of your team, like a Veigar, Galio, Pyke, and Irelia, Ryze is a champion it's pretty tough for him to get much done if he's not really ahead, and if he does have to deal with so many forms of CC. One thing I'm really just interested in is, what is this Twitch jungle going to be really bringing to the table? He is against a jungle matchup where the enemy Kayn doesn't really have a form of CC to really hard punish the Twitch with his solo laners. But if the Kayn does start to get a couple kills in the early game, it should be pretty hard for the Twitch to be able to go out and do what he wants to do in team fights if the Kayn is just sitting there waiting to ult the Twitch on site. So I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
One thing we'll have to track, and it's something you have to watch out for in every single Twitch game, is the level 2 gank, right? You start on red buff, you immediately go to a lane right after that and try and punish, and there certainly are opportunities there, so we'll have to see Yoo-Hoo Maniac's early pathing. One thing I love to see, and it's actually something that my team was playing over the last couple of months, was the return of Galio mid. I love the pick. Obviously, we're seeing it more damage heavy nowadays, right? They shifted a lot of his power because we used to see so much, heavy tank Galio and just relying on those base damages and bringing the utility with his ultimate. Nowadays, they've changed the numbers to where to be effective, you have to build more AP. You see a little bit of that kind of AP bruisery build, right, where you're getting the Rod of Ages and to give you a little more survivability. But a lot of Galios have pretty solid kind of one-shot potential with the builds that they're going right now. And I love to see it come back because I think the ultimate brings a lot of interesting setup to team fights. And really you can't, if you're playing into the Galio, you can never feel safe going in for that 1v1 or 2v2 because it can change so quickly. Now, obviously, number 730 has a response, right? They've got the Rise ultimate to try and get in to combat the Galio ultimates, but it's going to be fun to see if the Galio, Wonder Ginger can get to those side lanes with his ultimate and start to really affect things come level 6.
Yeah, one thing to point out in that comparison with the Rise and Galio is as much as the Rise ult is somewhat a response to the Galio ult, he can follow him from lane to lane.
Yes.
Galio will always have the first move.
Exactly.
And Galio's first move is definitely a dangerous one. Like you mentioned, Galio in this current state of the game does a lot of damage. It's a lot of burst damage. So him getting there first plays a very big role. And Galio is also a very strong champion in the form that he has very strong, very easy to land AoE crowd controls.
Yep.
These are very effective things to have in a competitive environment. Not only in solo queue, but in competitive, you really want to have CC, and AoE CC is all the better, especially when you have a ton of damage backing it. So Galio is an absolutely strong pick. Like you said, Rise is somewhat of an answer in the fact that he can follow with his ult, but I do think Galio should have the advantage here.
And it's the trade-off, right? You bring the CC and the quicker response from the Galio. The trade-off then for the Rise is you're coming a little late, and it requires a level of coordination, but you can bring more people, right? If you're able to coordinate with your jungler or maybe your other solo laner, you can show up and, the Galio ult's down to your bottom lane and all of a sudden it's a 3v2. But, wait, we've got the Rise ult to come in. Now it's a 4v3 and you can shift those tables. But it really requires impeccable communication and coordination and understanding when those cooldowns are up and when they're trying to set up that play. So there's opportunities there, but the baseline kind of level of execution there is certainly higher for the Rise, but there's opportunities there for him to try and take advantage. So it'll be interesting. It's been a long day. Interesting to see how these mid laners shake out in their use of their ultimates, because it could be very key to how things shake out in this matchup as things go, towards level 6 and we start to really see this game open up.
Yeah, and I put so much value in the Galio getting there first, but this is a player playing Rise whose account name is actually Rise. Like if he does end up being able to pick up a lot of free kills by showing up late to the fight, that could play a very huge role in how the rest of this game plays out, because he's definitely, just based on account name alone, he definitely seems like the kind of player who can do a lot if he's the sole survivor of these skirmishes, if he's the one picking up these triple kills, quadra kills,
Yeah.
he could definitely take this game and roll with it. So I'm excited to see what happens there.
We'll have to see. He better be good on the Rise, otherwise people are going to be flaming him in chat. You better change your summoner name.
Ooh, Twitch going in. No, not really.
Yoo-Hoo Maniac here stepping up, just trying to get a little bit of information here. There really should be no surprises on the starts for both of these junglers. Outside of junglers that I do not understand sometimes in solo queue, you pretty much always see the Kayn starting with that solo chicken start. It can clear it fairly easily. You do not need the leash. And then you're pretty much always going to see that Twitch starting on red buff to get that early just help in your clear, and obviously the potential to get that early level 2 gank. So really, both teams should know exactly where the junglers are starting, regardless of any sort of wards they get down here. But Yoo-Hoo Maniac does at least get the ward down above the red buff there of OG Bosch. Yeah, I'm OG Bosch, and then backs to get the sweeper. So Yoo-Hoo Maniac can work with a little more vision denial here in the early game as minions are in the lanes, and we'll see. I honestly, here in this first minute, I just want to watch Yoo-Hoo Maniac here.
Yeah,
we'll see
me too.
if he goes top side. There's an opportunity there.
I'm watching him intently. Although now, okay, there he is again. So here we see him pathing towards mid for that level 1 gank, level 2 gank. Galio does not have a form of CC quite yet to facilitate the gank. And I'm just going for some damage.
Yeah, Rise will sniff that one out and back away, take some damage, but going to be feeling all right. And meanwhile, Wonder Ginger will get the push going. Thank you to our observers in the back, giving us that little inside look. Meanwhile, on the top side, that's a level 2 solo kill for Pathetic there on Asylum, going down. Ooh, as a good hook lands there for Juicy, and that's going to be the baby cage.
Not that much damage, but still, what a combo of CC. It looks like we're going to be looking to see that combo play itself out probably plenty of times in this bot lane matchup.
Yeah, Qatar, the Event Horizon, not the easiest CC to land nowadays, just with the delay. Obviously, it's been a long time since that change was made. Meanwhile, Juicy flashing away, flash in from Sandvillain. That's going to be a kill in the bottom lane for number 730.
Yeah, that was a very eager dash forward from the Pyke there. You know, I don't think he even got within 100 range of the enemy champions when he dashed forward, and he didn't end up like flashing or anything to connect that dash. Here comes Switch for the counter gank.
Oh, Humaniac down to the bottom lane. Almacon's in trouble. Doesn't want to flash away and will just cost the Lux her life. The late flash there. Almacon, you either got to flash right away or do not use the summoner spell. The Lux is so heavily punished there. Meanwhile, Humaniac sitting with double buffs wants more here. Sandvillain going to be able to net away from trouble and hold on in this lane, but a lot of early pressure here from the Twitch. Humaniac trying to make use of this pick.
Yeah, it looks like Kane's going for a counterplay on the top side. Actually, no. As soon as I said that, he starts walking away. Thank you, Kane. But again, this is very important for the Twitch to be able to get a gank off on his very first clear. You know, this is a pick that has to be getting kills early and often in the game to really pay off. So Yahoo Maniac's got to be feeling good about that gank.
In Upper Moon,
looking like a play going around in mid lane.
Yeah, they're trying to get onto Rise here. The Event Horizon will miss. Rise able to back away there. It felt like almost for a moment that Upper Moon had kind of sniffed out the setup from OG Bosch, but the Kane not going in on a Wonder Ginger. Otherwise, I think things would have gone a lot worse. Would have at least cost the Kane his flash there, but he'll just return to his jungle, go to clear out his Gromp as Wonder Ginger continues to put on some pressure here in the mid lane, but honestly, Rise should be able to clear that wave fairly easily, and the CS will be even. Meanwhile, on the top side, stuns landed from both top laners. Asylum taking so much damage here. Pathetic.
Oh, okay.
Forces the flash out there. Won't go for the follow. Honestly content to take the summoner spells and continue to force that wave into tower. Asylum does have teleport available, so can come back to the lane and shouldn't really lose any minions here, but Pathetic just putting out so much pressure on the Aurelia.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary indicator of how the rest of this top lane matchup will go coming out of the Aurelia versus the Riven. I don't think this is a matchup where the Riven really has much comeback potential if she starts falling behind in items. So you know, it's really up to Kane to be able to influence that matchup and try to tip it back into his top lane's favor. But I'm pretty worried. I don't see that happening.
Juicy's looking for a play down in the bottom lane. Almacon will spot him out, stepping into the brush there as OG Bosch clearing out his Raptors camp.
Well, if Galio sees him.
Talk to me a little more about that top lane matchup. Is this how this is supposed to go early? Is Aurelia really supposed to dominate these early levels?
So I'm not a top lane connoisseur myself. I'm not the most well-versed in the Aurelia Riven matchup, but what I do know is Aurelia is pretty strong in the early levels. If she gets her Q stacks up, it would definitely be able to outtrade the Riven in autos. And the Riven player herself probably was feeling like those auto-based trades were in her favor, because typically Rivens do try to go for that Q auto, Q auto, Q auto combo in the level 1 trade. It definitely probably took him a lot of discipline to really prevent himself from doing that, and he probably felt a lot of cognitive dissonance there and ended up going for that trade anyway.
Ooh, the double stealth in the bottom lane, and actually Qatar's down here. Good job by Upper Moon to set up the kill on the flashless Lux.
I thought Stellan was going to go for a trade there. That would have been really ill-advised. But again, yeah, this bot lane combo between the Veigar and the Pyke, such a clean, such a very easily executable combo. I love seeing lanes like this in competitive matches where, you know, it's just if one of you lands the CC, the other one just puts his CC down and you just chain it. Very good clean execution coming out of Upper Moon so far.
Yeah, the layering is already pretty easy on the Upper Moon bottom lane, and you add on top of that that there's no flash on Almacon there. Just makes things so easy to secure that kill. Juicy's Hook lands true and sets up the third kill for Upper Moon, and now they're going to try and pressure and see if they can get some plates here. Another hook's going to land from Juicy. Sandvillain wants to trade back a little bit as Almacon has returned to the lane. Both bot laners, though, low on mana and sitting on some gold, so they're going to return to their respective bases, though Qatar actually going to stay here, looking to try and push this wave. Not sure if they have the information that Sandvillain back. They should kind of know by now.
Yeah, they should be pushing this wave a little bit harder. However, one thing to point out, Upper Moon is really starting to pull ahead in both the top and bot side. We have a 23 CS advantage on bot side and almost a 30 CS advantage on the top side. These are lane matchups that are able to take good advantage of these CS leads early. We should see a pretty snowbally mid game coming out of Upper Moon if this dynamic continues.
Now Qatar just trying to get that minion wave under the tower. Sandvillain has returned, but been a very scary early game for number 730. They got first blood, but things have not gone their way since. Juicy's going to have to back away. Asylum taking a lot of damage here. It's going to get the knock-up on a Pathetic, but the Aurelia just continues to dominate in the 1v1. Meanwhile, Yoo-Hoo Maniac combines with Wonder Ginger to go for the invade and steal away the blue buff from OG Bosch. Oh, flash in, aggressive. Gonna get the taunt, rises in trouble, trying to get away, flashes back to the safety of his tower and will survive. But that's the Summoner spell force out. But honestly, that's actually a 1-for-1 trade in flashes for Rise there. That could have gone a lot worse.
It could have gone a lot worse, but it is worth mentioning that the Rise definitely needs his flash more than the Galio in this kind of game. Yeah. The Rise, a flashless Rise, if Galio is ever able to land one taunt with Twitch nearby like this, is going to be a kill for sure. And the next time Twitch has his ult up, if he has red buff with the ult, that should end up being, if not a dead Rise, a chunked out Rise.
OG Bosch going to get in here and try and discourage this push. One tower plate, excuse me, picked up. Oh, Bosch flashing away, but he's going to burn down Yoo-Hoo Maniac. Going to grab the kill. Meanwhile, on the top side, Pathetic is going to get onto Asylum here, eating a couple of tower shots. Actually isn't able to finish off the kill. It's Almacon backing away the heal forced out from Sandvillain. So continual pressure applied here. Second game of the day, and we're seeing more of the same. Not as many kills this time around, but still so much pressure and aggression from both of these teams, and it's going to continue for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, we're seeing these teams who are able to get advantages for themselves in the early game. They're not afraid at all to really take these aggressive moves. Maybe not the cleanest, but definitely aggressive moves in order to push their advantages ahead. As a caster, I'm really happy to see that. I don't have to sit here and scold them for being too passive with the lead. So I really hope to see Upper Moon continue this dynamic going into the mid game.
It's always kind of a consistent thing talked about when you watch any sort of professional cast, right? When you're talking about aggressive to passive play. And certainly there's the high risk, high reward, storyline to aggressive play. But you always hear casters talk about, if you get behind, right? Better to play aggressive and try and take a play and bring yourself back into the game, especially with just where the meta has been for the majority of this year, where games just don't go late, right? Mm-hmm. It's so difficult to stall and turtle and scale up. So teams are typically universally praised here. As Sandvillain's in trouble, going to flash away, but it isn't going to matter. Beautiful setup from the Pike. It's going to be the double kill for Yoo-Hoo Maniac. And now OG Bosch has to run for his life. Going to get stunned here, trying to escape. Can he get away from the Aurelia? Will be able to get the sustain and get to the other side of the wall, but Upper Moon with the double kill and more pressure topside as they continue to get after number 730.
Dang, Juicy going huge with that dash flash play to connect his stun on both of the enemy bot laners. And Galio looking for an invade. Looks like they're going to push their vision advantage up in the top side of the map. But again, what a play from the bot side there. The enemy bot lane, playing it risky, taking it back on the enemy side's lane bush instead of their own lane bush. That's definitely something you want to avoid doing in competitive 5v5 League of Legends.
Almacon's in trouble here. Oh, the beautiful hook into the event horizon, followed up by the stun. Perfect layered CC, and Almacon is dead. And Sandvillain most likely soon to follow here. Juicy's gonna grab the kill, and Upper Moon is up 8-1.
Yeah, that's definitely going to end up being the tower. It looks like Galio is trailing the Rise as he pads down to try to save that tower. I doubt that the Rise gets there alive. Aurelia going for another all-in.
Yeah, Pathetic, getting so much damage.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Rise comes down to the bottom lane, but will just go to his death. Upper Moon So we got to talk about the acceleration of play there. As soon as this fight is done, Asylum, you're in trouble. You're going to go down. Another solo kill for Pathetic there. But what I really want to touch on is Upper Moon just chaining one play into another. They come bottom lane, they get the double kill. They immediately go, okay, we've got the double kill, let's go take Drake. Then they come back to bottom lane because they know number 730's bottom lane is going to be coming in thinking, we need to get that wave. It's crashing into our tower. They immediately then punish that with another 2 kills there. Punish Sandvillain and Almacon walking back to lane, get another couple tower plates, and they're looking for more. Almacon is just going to get dogpiled on. OG Bosch is here and should be able to trade a kill back onto Yuhumaniac. Will get the shutdown here. Can they get more? Upper Moon retreating. Sandvillain is really healthy here, but going to get it hooked in. Qatar solo on mana, so Upper Moon will back away. But here comes Wonder Ginger looking for the taunt. There's Juicy with the kill, and they're looking for more. OG Bosch backing away, but is going to get taunted. Chained into the stun. The Cane is so low. That's going to be the execution missing from Juicy, but OG Bosch will go down. Trading a kill for a kill there. It's a 2 for 2 in the bottom lane.
Wow, so much action going on in this bottom lane. Oh, another taunt landing. Just going to be some damage, I hope. Oh, get out of there.
Wonder Ginger, oh no! The Justice punch the wrong way will mean a shutdown for Rise.
Okay, all right, finally the dust settles in the bot lane. So one thing I wanted to point out before all of that is, like you said, Yahoo Maniac is making a lot happen in this bot lane by chaining these plays. And what makes me really happy to see that as a caster is their bot lane, the Veigar Pike, they have the most potential to make plays happen. They have the most forms of CC, AoE CC at that, so it's even easier to land. So Twitch's decision to be going there over and over, not only is it a good decision in terms of, like, you know, tempo-based play, you know, stacking plays onto each other, but just in terms of efficiency and being in the map, you typically want to be on the side of the map that has the most ability to make these plays. So this has been some really good decisions on where to be on the map coming out of Yahoo Maniac. Pike going in again for another aggressive dash forward.
Juicy wants more. He's going to get the stun on Almacon, and they're going to be trapped in the cage. Flashes are available. Meanwhile, we're up to the top side as Asylum running for his life, but it will not matter. Pathetic is going to grab another kill. This is 2 games in a row. We've seen an Aurelia absolutely pop off, and Almacon is in trouble once more. Here comes the damage. The ult, and Qatar will secure it.
Save.
Uh-oh. Qatar does flash on top of the trap, but it may not matter. Sandvillain taking a lot of damage here. There's the execute. Juicy's going to get it. And OG Bosch has to run away as well. More action as we're accelerating this game right now.
He's going to go for it.
OG Bosch is going to go down. Yuhumaniac going to grab the kill, looking for a second Rise. Cannot escape the double kill for the Twitch.
Wow, it seems like just 3 minutes ago, Upper Moon didn't have 18 kills, and all of a sudden they've come out with, 8 kills in the last few minutes?
Oh, man.
They're really picking up the pace. Oh, my goodness.
2 games in a row where we've had a pre-15-minute ace here as Upper Moon does grab that one there. And both times with just these plays happening all across the map simultaneously. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Asylum, you cannot escape. Pathetic is going to actually survive there as Asylum goes down, and they're looking to pressure the tier 2.
Yeah, you're really starting to see this Riven player is just over and over. She has to really fight that instinct to land that last Q on the Aurelia. You know, I feel like this entire top lane laning phase, Riven could be living in at least half of these situations if you just use all her Qs to just run. Disengage the trade as early as possible. Yeah, she's going to be way behind. Yeah, she's going to have to back often. But the fact is, a lot of these deaths is a result of Riven not fully committing to getting away from the Aurelia and just taking a lot of punishment from these Aurelia Qs and autos.
In one interesting thing, kind of a storyline that these 2 games set up here as we go through the night for kind of the bracket as a whole, as Juicy's going to be able to escape from pressure there, is we've seen 2 very similar games. Upper Moon not moving quite as fast as we saw in the first game by We Need a Fifth, but you know that was kind of a breakneck pace that's going to be hard to match. But we've seen 2 teams play so aggressively and so fast in the early game and have really looked very similar to each other. Meanwhile, we've seen 2 teams, assuming number 730 loses this game, that have not been able to handle the pressure, have not been able to handle that fast pace, and have gotten so far behind. And that sets us up for a matchup with, I believe the way the bracket is set up, I will confirm this for you guys after this game, but I believe we've got 4 teams, and we will see Upper Moon face off against We Need a Fifth if they win this game, as it's going to be another couple kills coming through. Rise and Asylum falling, but...
Oh, don't go there.
Sandvillain, no, you're walking to your death, my friend. Flash away from the Caitlyn will survive for now as Almacon trying to collapse onto Qatar here. OG Bosch is going to grab the shutdown onto the Veigar, so something back for number 730. But if the bracket is set up the way I believe it is with 4 teams, we will get to see second-round matchups with Upper Moon against We Need a Fifth, and we'll have to see who can just play this style better, who can accelerate the pace and just smash the early game. Meanwhile, we'll see 2 teams who struggled in the early game and see maybe who can either imitate the teams that beat them the best, or who can, you know, maybe finally be able to delay and hit those mid to late game spikes that they're looking for. But should be a very interesting setup for the second round of this week's tournament.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited to see these 2 bloodthirsty teams meet in the finals.
I mean, it should be a good one.
So far, both of these teams have managed to more than exceed a kill per minute. So if we do the math, crunch the numbers, we should see, you know, 3 to 4 kills a minute in the finals.
Right.
That sounds like a really exciting best of 3 to me.
Should be a fun one. It's taking stock of where we sit at kind of the game state right now. 5-0 lead in towers for Upper Moon as they sit. Ooh, yeah, that's 14,000 gold ahead at just nearly 18 minutes. You talk about combined kills per minute. How about like gold lead per minute, approaching nearly 1,000 gold, and a huge lead here from Upper Moon. As it was the Malphite in game 1 that was continuing to accelerate the game and keep up the pressure, and this time it's the jungle once more on the red side as Yuhumaniac on this Twitch, something that can have great early pressure. You always talk about that level 2 gank on the red buff, but one thing you always really need is setup from your lanes.
Yeah.
And he's got that in every lane. Granted, I don't know if he's even visited top lane because Pathetic has just been smashing so hard. You can't gank top lane if the top laner is just always dead.
Yeah.
But he has the setup in mid and bot lane and has taken great advantage of it. I've never seen this Pyke Veigar lane before, but that is absolutely terrifying if you have a jungler that I mean, it's terrifying as a 2v2, but especially if you have a jungler that can come in and put a lot of pressure on. I mean, that's just terrifying. As Asylum, trouble once more here, forced the flash away from Pathetic. He has had absolutely no agency to do anything in this game.
Yeah, and I like that you touch on, again, the Twitch is visiting a lane that has so much potential to create opportunities for him. You know,
Sand Villain. Heal has to come through to save his life as the ultimate from the Lux. The final spark won't finish off Yuhumaniac, in the ultimate from the Caitlyn actually not quite enough as well. So Yuhumaniac is able to escape here. Meanwhile, hook over the wall from Juicy will not land, but they still got a minion wave coming up to this tower in mid lane. That will be the inhibitor tower falling. Meanwhile, OG Bosch is in trouble. Gonna get collapsed on here. Ultimate on a Pathetic, but Pathetic is just diving for the Lux. Rise is in trouble. Flash away. Will not save him. It's the double kill. A third will fall there as the Pyke is able to get the execution. And Asylum is maybe looking for some revenge here on a Pathetic. Actually gonna dash into tower edge, but just gonna get collapsed on Juicy. Goes gold, but Asylum is dead. Qatar with the kill. Meanwhile, Sand Villain trying to get one back. Does get the shutdown on a Wonder Ginger, but there is Pyke. Juicy gonna get some damage. Oh, he's gonna go down the shutdown for the Riven. Pathetic gonna take a tower shot, just able to survive. But a very bloody base here's Upper Moon pushing the aggression.
Oh, Twitch is going again once more.
Sand Villain, oh no, Yuhumaniac wants the kill, will go down, but it is gonna be traded there.
And, you know, if I was a coach watching this, you know, I would be pretty upset at Upper Moon for how many 1-for-0, 1-for-1s that they were going for there. But again, you know, they're playing aggressively. They know that they're really ahead, and they're just trying to accelerate this game as fast as they can. Probably having a little bit of fun with it as well.
Sure.
Can't be mad about that. Definitely doing a great job of playing aggressively with the lead.
Yeah, definitely fast and loose here for Upper Moon as they're looking to close this game out. It won't close out quite as quickly as we saw in game 1, but as we already mentioned, that's a difficult pace to match with how fast We Need a Fifth was playing in that game. But just over 20 minutes in, they've already got that mid inhibitor.
Oh, that damage. He's dead.
Oh, goodbye, Rise. Qatar so strong right now. It's going to get jumped on by the Riven, but yep, here comes the hero's entrance from Wonder Ginger. Is going to be able to block the ultimate from the Caitlyn, and Qatar will survive. Meanwhile, Upper Moon has started the Baron here. Juicy and Pathetic here, waiting for the assistance of their jungler as Yuhumaniac has arrived. Qatar will join them as well. And now all 5 members of Upper Moon here to try and secure the Baron, and that should be what allows Upper Moon to put the finishing touches on this game. They should have no problem breaking the base open, you know, further than it already has been here. But this should be the setup for Upper Moon to close out this game and grab a win. As number 730 has never been able to get enough. It's really, the kills they're getting are really just the ones that Upper Moon is kind of giving them, as OG Bosch here trying to save Almacon, but it will just cost the Kane his life. Meanwhile, Rise on his way here. Humanic flashing into the base as Rise walks out of the gate. It is going to be a double kill. It will cost the Twitch his life, but it doesn't really matter here. Almacon flashing away from Pathetic. Here is Juicy looking for more. There's the execute. They're looking for the dive. It's the double kill. Just Asylum alive as the base is in shambles. Pathetic chasing Asylum away from the Nexus. That will be one Nexus tower following the Baron buffed minions, helping apply the pressure here. The second Nexus tower will fall, and Upper Moon will close this win out. An impressive victory over number 730.
Yeah, once again, a team that is, by their kill score alone, well ahead of a kill per minute, almost getting 2 kills per minute, not quite as fast as what we saw from the last game, but again, 2 extremely aggressive teams, and it's really looking like we're going to see a very exciting best of 3 series in the finals.
Oh man, we're going to get Upper Moon versus We Need a Fifth next, I believe. We'll double check on that bracket for you guys. I'll kind of make sure we can lay it all out for you when we return from our break, but it's definitely setting up to be quite a barn burner of a matchup there.
Oh, yeah.
But we do have to, we have to touch on Upper Moon first here, right? We gave We Need a Fifth the credit they were due at the end of their game, and we have to give it to Upper Moon here. Maniac utilizing the Twitch so well, and I think you set it up perfectly, talking about him continuing to visit that lane that had so much setup. The Veigar Pike lane is so volatile. They bring obviously solid damage, but so much CC, and it makes Humaniac's job easy. Stealth in and just stand there and fire away. The Pike will lock down the targets you need, and it set them out up for so much success.
Yeah, it's one thing having a lane with such a strong matchup like that, with such a strong setup for your jungler, but it's another thing having the presence of mind to visit that lane over and over to really hammer in that advantage and take full control with the setup that you have. So that was some really good pathing from the Twitch.
Yeah, great game by Upper Moon. They absolutely dominate 7-3-0 there, and they will move on in the bracket. We're going to go to a short break, but after those first 2 games, we've definitely got some exciting action ahead of us. Don't touch those keywords, folks. We'll be back in just a few. Ladies and gentlemen, we promised you we would come back, and Yeso and Latman are here, returning to Late Night League Week 2 here in Season 4. Yes, we are. Did confirm with production there, our bracket does include 4 teams, so we will get that promised Upper Moon versus We Need a Fifth matchup right now. We're getting prepped to get into Champion Select there. And actually, with the way things are set up, we're actually going to get to cover every single game tonight, which I'm really excited about. So we will be able to see number 730 facing up against Night Raid in that losers final in just a little bit. That will follow up this next game, and then we will head to the grand final. But getting to cover everything, fun to kind of follow all the storylines here. But we will get our two fast boys.
Oh, yeah.
Here, matching up. Both of them playing Sonic style. Got to go fast, and we are into Champion Select. Upper Moon does have blue side in this game with We Need a Fifth on the red side. Interestingly enough, red side 2-0 today. Both of these teams actually took the win with the Aurelia top lane on the red side. We'll see what kind of adaptations in Champion Select we see from these teams. Obviously, they've actually both had the opportunity to watch their opponents play their first matchup, so we'll see how that affects Champion Select, and it actually crops up early as We Need a Fifth says, we're not going to give Qatar the Vigar here again. We're going to take that off the board. We'll see if they actually focus the Pike as well. Meanwhile, Nunu Tryndamere taken out by Upper Moon, and the Malphite there. So both teams watched and said, there's a couple things we don't want to see again, so Big Boy Gaming will have to switch things up as the Aurelia taken off the board, so neither team will get to run back their top laner.
Yeah, I really agree with these decisions so far in the draft in banning the Veigar and the Malphite. You know, when you see a picks with such easy, fluid execution and AoE CC, again, I keep saying that, but I really just can't stress it enough. You really want to just take those out. If you have no practice against it, just take it out. Don't even take the risk of playing against it. Really appreciate that. One thing that I am interested in is the Tryndamere ban. That is definitely a ban that we have not seen yet today. We didn't see it in the last game where against We Need a Fifth. So interesting to see that. I wonder if it was directed towards jungle or top lane.
And we will actually get to see the Echo come out. Certainly the possibility to flex it to a solo lane here, but it is most popular in the jungle on the current patch. And We Need a Fifth. Actually, we'll get the brand once more. We weren't sure where it was going to go during Champion Select the last time around, and then we obviously saw it go down to the bottom lane for Finch, combined with the Thresh that actually has been locked in here. So Upper Moon should sniff out that that is a bottom lane brand and be able to kind of draft around that knowledge at this point, but certainly still the flexibility there for We Need a Fifth if they want it. Meanwhile, Upper Moon looking for their second and third picks, and they're going to go hook for a hook. Here is the Crank locked in, Blitzcrank for Juicy. He isn't going to play the Pike this time around, but he's still bringing Hook City to the bottom lane.
I could really appreciate the Blitz pick, the Blitz pick. You know, picking champions that are able to really punish Brand's lack of mobility is very crucial in properly dealing with that lane. If you're not going to pick a champion like Blitz, like Thresh, like Pike against a Brand, like a Leona as well as what we saw in the first game of the series, then you're really just forfeiting all control in the bot lane. So I'm glad to see that they're choosing not to go that route. They're choosing to actually meet the Brand head on with the Blitzcrank pick.
Camille is locked in for Upper Moon there, so at least one of their solo lanes grabbed, and We Need a Fifth will actually take the Galio away that we saw Wonder Ginger play in the last game. So Wonder Ginger will have to play a little something different this time around, as we would assume Jackson James will get that Galio. Now into the second ban phase here. We Need a Fifth. Let's see what they want to focus here. We've seen heavy focus on the bottom lanes in the second ban phases so far today. They'll ban away the Morgana. That's one we've seen a couple of times here. We've also seen heavy focus on the Jinx, the Kaisa. So we'll have to see if Upper Moon wants to take that off the board, but they will knock the Darius off. Is Ayumi going to have to dig down in that champion pool a little bit? Aurelia, Kled, and Darius off the board, as well as the Tryndamere. So heavy focus to that top lane.
Really interested by the Morgana ban, you know, because essentially that ban is usually directed in the bot lane, but we already see the Blitzcrank pick. So the next lane you would expect the Morgana to go is mid lane, which I guess does make some sense because you're picking the Galio. So Morgana against the Galio in mid lane, not like the best pick that you want into the Galio, but definitely one that can make the Galio pretty ineffective in the laning phase at least. Still though, I would have rather have seen more bans being directed towards the AD carry champion pool left available for the Qatar in the bot lane.
The Jax is going to be locked in here for we need a 5th, and that would most likely be for Ayumi, though we could see Big Boy Gaming take it out in the jungle. Now we're waiting to see what Upper Moon wants to complete their composition with. They're going to bring out the Nico. So teams trading picks here as we see the Nico locked in there, and they're going to look at the Pantheon. It's hovered. Those solo lane combinations didn't work out in game number 1 of the day. We need a 5th was able to handle those two fairly well. We'll see how they want to take it. Yeah, they're going to lock in the Pantheon. Okay, so this means we are going to get the Nico bottom lane that you mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm. Most likely.
And most likely a Pantheon mid for Wonder Ginger and the Camille top. You can't flex those two around, so we're not 100% sure. But that's pretty much guaranteed to be Echo jungle. We don't see Camille there anymore. She kind of got hit way too hard from the jungle aspect earlier this year. And Dr. Mundo going to be the final lock in here for the side of we need a 5th. An interesting pick with double AD solo laners there. In the Nico bot, do you still go on hit, or what's kind of the build there? Are you just going heavy AP because of your composition?
I think you're going heavy AP nowadays with Nico in the bot lane.
Okay.
It's looking at that. Yeah, Mundo will be jungle. Okay, that makes sense. So one thing to point out, something you mentioned earlier about why Echo wasn't seeing so much success in Worlds is because he's not really able to set up things on his own. But in this game, once again, like what we saw when Yuhu Maniac was playing Twitch, he has 3 lanes that are able to set him up very well for any sort of ganks that he wants to choose in the early game. Camille's got a really great stun, Pantheon's got a really great point-and-click stun, and the bot lane has 2 forms of CC with the Nico and the Blitzcrank grab. So once again, Yuhu Maniac's doing a great job of picking junglers that are able to take advantage of his lane's CC, and I'm really looking forward to see what kind of pathing decisions he makes in order to take advantage of that.
Should be fun to keep an eye on. Obviously, we mentioned earlier, both junglers were integral in these teams' first wins of the day, but it was also the bot lanes. And interestingly enough, Upper Moon's bottom lane looked a lot better, I think, overall. Because we talked about it so much, Finch actually really struggled once We Need a 5th started to open up the map. He struggled with playing the lane safe, not giving over kills to Beastlance on the Twitch at the time, who continued to punish him and kind of stay relevant. So we'll have to see if Finch can kind of rein in that aggressiveness and make sure he's not giving away undue gold if they're able to build an early lead here. But I think it's going to be more of the same this time around. We're going to see a heavy focus around where these junglers are going, and then the bottom lanes. Can they start to accelerate? Obviously, the top laners have had both great performances so far in the day. We won't see them on the Aurelia, so we'll see a little bit more spice up to the top side. But we mentioned we kind of set up this matchup, and these were 2 teams who have played so fast to kick off the day, and now we're going to see who can play faster here in the winners bracket final, and it should be a fun one with the way Champion Select shook out.
Yeah, if I had to give an advantage in terms of playstyle, because again, like we've been saying over and over, both of these teams really like to accelerate that early game tempo. Upper Moon seems to have a team composition that benefits more with an early game tempo based game. In fact, they kind of need to do that. We Need a 5th has definite outscaling advantages in the Jax and in the Mundo. Mundo is a champion that, especially in this kind of draft, if Mundo does get to the mid to late game, Upper Moon has pretty much no answer. They have no champions that are going to be able to effectively put down that Mundo. So there's really a timer on their part to be able to push this game very quickly into the mid game and close out early.
The one good thing Upper Moon should have here is Mundo has to split his build a little bit. You can't just build heavy magic resist. Though a little bit of the lacking sustained physical damage does help him out a little bit, but he kind of has to split his build a little bit, build a little armor there. But the other thing is Grievous Wounds actually fit really well into the builds of kind of Upper Moon's entire composition here. So there is that. There's a little bit of that saving grace to try and mitigate some of the healing and make the Mundo not as oppressive and just healing up through these huge fights later in the game. So there certainly are opportunities to try and knock down the strength of that Mundo as he kind of focuses on that sustained build. But it's going to be really fun to watch these lane matchups. Obviously, top lane's going to be a focus. We've got Pathetic and Ayumi who have popped off on the Aurelia today, and we'll see, can either of them take control of this early lane? Are we going to be seeing solo kills up there? Are they going to be trading back and forth? There's kind of a lot of fun stuff to follow.
Yeah, both of these top laners ended up having solo kills, before level 3, both of these games. So both of them definitely will opt for that very aggressive playstyle in the top lane. And in terms of the jungle matchup, getting involved in that top lane, Mundo is not a jungler that can really get involved at all in top lane pre-level 6, I think. And at that point, the most he can really do is maybe set up a tower dive, unless the top laner is caught overextending, which, to be fair, did happen against a Malphite jungle. But like you said, top lane is definitely going to be a major point of contention for both of these teams going into this game. We have two top laners who absolutely do want to play aggressively and know how to get kills on their own, with or without a jungler. Another thing I'm really interested to see is, will the brand be able to get through this early game aggressively? The enemy bot lane, Nico and Blitz, yeah, Brand has a slight range advantage against the Nico, but it's not really a big one at all. Nico does play much better into a range deficit than pretty much any other AD carry. And she's definitely got a lane matchup that can punish the brand. They've got very strong forms of CC, very long range in their CC. This is definitely not a lane matchup where Brand can be abusing as much as he might be used to in his solo queue games against most conventional AD carries. So I'm interested to see if he's able to make something happen without a very clear advantage in the ball lane for himself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that lane matchup shakes out. Could be very important to how this game moves. And we are on to the Rift here. Upper Moon versus We Need a Fifth, and that is the 5-man setup by Upper Moon. They're going to be spotted out here by Finch, who will attempt to retreat to safety in his own jungle. Upper Moon not going to get anything quite yet. They're going to head over towards the Pixel Brush. Obviously, you've got a Blitzcrank on your team. There's always a big threat at level 1. The Rocket Grab, as we mentioned earlier, with that extra 100 range, is just that much scarier. And you can try and grab an early hook to force a flash, see if you can steal the blue buff away. Many possibilities there with that champion at level 1, but it looks like Upper Moon is going to take the conservative approach here. Head over to the red buff, set up the early leash for Yoo-Hoo.
Yeah, one thing I'm actually a little disappointed to see is in that invade path that Upper Moon took, they actually kind of botched it. Pantheon went ahead and was at least a good 150 to 200 range in front of the Blitzcrank at the start of that invade, making it so that the Blitzcrank didn't really have a chance to trade a flash-for-flash hook on the brand. And if you are able to trade your flash for the brand's flash this early into the game, that is absolutely worth it as a Blitzcrank Nico lane. So just a little bit of a misplay in terms of how they executed the invade coming out of Upper Moon there.
Yeah, and also if you're looking to set up that hook onto someone walking out of that ramp from the blue buff, you want to come down through the lane and then wrap up the river so you can utilize that brush, right? Because if you just walk out of Tri-Brush, they can easily spot you from right there. But if you come down the lane, you're able to get into that brush completely out of vision. So something Upper Moon can clean up for that level 1, because they're definitely, you want to take advantage of every opportunity you can. And Blitzcrank level 1 is definitely a huge one. So kind of botched that one there to start off. But Upper Moon seems like they're feeling just fine at this point. The push starting for We Need a Fifth in the bottom lane. The brand clears waves fairly well, so Qatar should be forced to farm under tower fairly frequently in the early game, but that could set up opportunities for Yoo-Hoo Maniac to get down and start some action in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, topside, Big Boy Gaming up near this lane, maybe trying to see if Pathetic's going to go in here. He is going to get stunned by the Counter-Strike, and there's going to be some damage thrown out, but Pathetic just able to back away from any real danger.
Yeah, so far, not much has happened, but we are seeing some very stark differences between this game and the first 2 games of this evening. Both of these side lanes, both in the top and bottom side, quick exchange going on in the mid lane.
Yeah, Wonder Ginger actually going to get taunted here. Solid trade for Jackson James here as Big Boy Gaming making his way down to the mid lane. The Pantheon able to trade back fairly effectively as, that magic damage shield really useless for Jackson James in this lane matchup.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, at this point in the game, both top and bot sides already got kills. And in this game here, we're seeing not only are there no kills, but there's no real health disadvantages or advantages. No real summoner advantages gained as well. So it seems like we have a much more even game in terms of player matchups going into this best of... actually, this is best of 1.
Man, no kills in the first 3.5 minutes. This game is so slow. You
Let me say that as the jungler's having to flash away. Mundo going for the invade.
Uh-oh, Big Boy Gaming's in trouble here. He's burning from the Ignite. That's going to be first blood there for Pathetic. We need a 5th. Over-aggressive, and they're punished by Upper Moon.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. As soon as we started mentioning that this game is looking a little bit more passive, a kill goes ahead and comes out.
Ooh, flash in from the Gilly Man. There's the laner to try and keep Finch sustained up. Juicy going to take a lot of damage. He's actually going to eat the brand passive. Heal out for Finch. Force the flash away from Qatar as the Nico wanted to get in there. No mana for Gilly Man, and Qatar will back away. Let's take stock there. All summoner spells used in that exchange by We Need a 5th bottom lane. In exchange for 3 of the 4 summoner spells there for Upper Moon, as the teleport still available for Qatar.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty decent advantage for Qatar, though. Not only does he have teleport available, but he has the wave pushing towards him. So he has an option here, if the brand is unable to crash this wave, to thin out the wave, keep it in front of his tower, set up a freeze back, and teleport back in. He'll definitely have a good opportunity to get a decent CS advantage if he's able to execute with this teleport correctly.
And actually, we'll have a minor CS lead as long as Qatar is able to last hit well under the tower. Clearing out that wave should be up by about 5 to 7 CS here once that's all said and done.
Looks like Mundo might be going for an early dragon. No, I think that's the Scuttle Crab. Never mind.
First Drake is the Mountain Drake, as you can see on your screen. We mentioned it earlier in the night, not the highest priority of early Drakes, but certainly can help out a bit in trying to take those early tower plates, as the teams will have another 8.5 minutes to try and get that extra gold.
You know, I would actually dispute that point about Mountain Drake not being one of the more effective early dragons. Like, yeah, an Infernal Drake is pretty much the best case scenario of what you really want as your first dragon, and Ocean Drake does have a... You know, casters talk all the time about how early Ocean Drakes will help you in the laning phase across the board. But early Mountain Drakes, they actually give a very strong DPS advantage in terms of what you can do with like a 1 mini wave advantage in terms of how much damage you can get on tower plating. Typically, when you go for tower plating stacks in the early game, you're kind of sacrificing tempo every time, because it's very rare that you get to crash such a huge wave that you're able to get a tower plating and back without falling behind on tempo. But an early Mountain Drake helps really bridge that gap and make it so you have a dynamic where you're not forcing yourself to fall behind tempo to get these tower plating stacks. And it's definitely a very valuable dragon in the later stages of the game as well.
Gilly Man getting pulled in here, but actually able to trade back very well there. Juicy taking a lot of damage. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jackson James has to back away, but is caught in the parallel convergence. But honestly, taking up a lot of damage there as Wonder Ginger and Yoo-Hoo Maniac not making things stick there till the end, though, actually.
Yeah, that last Pantheon Q did a lot.
Woo. Big Boy Gaming here, maybe trying to get something done if Wonder Ginger goes in aggressive. It's going to be the clone stepping forward there for Qatar's Gillyman and Finch. Just biding their time here, waiting for that level 6 on the brand, as Jackson James should be forced to back. Does have teleport available, though, so should be able to get back to lane very easily, and actually sitting at level 6, so we have to keep an eye on the hero's entrance, as Jackson James can't get into those side lanes now, and there could be an opportunity bot lane very soon. He's going to return to base and spend some gold. And Yoo-Hoo Maniacs on the bottom side, maybe looking to get something done. Not level 6 yet, but still certainly a threat on the Echo, as the death sentence will miss for Gillyman.
So it seems like Echo is currently sneaking a dragon with Pantheon. I think Pantheon just joined him on the minimap. This is a very good move by Upper Moon, sneaking this early dragon, especially when you have a bot lane matchup where the enemy team, you know, when you pick a champion like Brand, you're expecting to have a lot more control of the bot lane in these early phases of the game. But being able to sneak an early dragon like that, that absolutely throws the expectations of what We Need a 5th might have been looking at in the early game, like, completely over their heads.
Yeah, We Need a 5th had no idea what was going on. And now Juicy came down to the bottom lane. Yoo-Hoo Maniac with him. We Need a 5th going to be able to back away for now, but the Mundo's actually down to the bottom lane. They may look for something here, 3v3. But the Galio on his way, so it will turn quickly into a 4v3 if Some CC lands. Qatar going to go in. There's the Pop Blossom. They're going to lock down the Gilliman. Here comes the Hero's Entrance, but Gilliman's already dead. Good 3-man knock up of the follow coming up for the Pantheon. Uh-oh, big trouble for We Need a Fifth. As down goes Finch. There's the beautiful hook. Good by Jackson James. Double kill for Wonder Ginger, and Upper Moon get their fight.
Oh, and follows with the flash with the ultimate. Very good cleanup kill by the Camille, and that is 5 kills already in the first 8 minutes of this game.
What a start for Upper Moon here. We were talking about which team was going to be able to accelerate the game first. So far, it is Upper Moon, up now 3,000 gold thanks to a big play in bottom lane there. And a huge influx of gold here for Wonder Ginger. He'll go back to mid lane, get a little more farm. He's already sitting on the serrated Dirk, and will return to base 2-0-1. A very, very rich man looking to finish that first item.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, in the opening 5 minutes of this game, We Need a Fifth definitely felt like they were playing a very clean, controlled game. You know, this team score was 0-0 just moments ago.
Yep.
And it's definitely got to be pretty demoralizing as a team to be down 0-5 after such a clean, concise opening minutes of the game. But again, We Need a Fifth definitely had. Oh, there's another Blitzcrank grab landing.
Oh, Finch flashes away, but it doesn't matter. He's already knocked up. Oh, Qatar just whiffs on the damage there. Finch actually just able to walk away. Cost him both of his summoner spells. So there's certainly still opportunities there to punish when you have a Blitzcrank in that lane, but they don't get the kill quite yet, and Qatar able to sidestep the death sentence.
Yeah, so you know the chat might be going a little bit ham on Qatar there for those whiffed skill shots, but he was definitely looking for this sidestep.
Ayumi will not get the stun onto Pathetic there. That's another kill for the Camille, as Yuhumaniac perfectly sets that up with the parallel convergence, and they grab the kill onto the We Need a Fifth top laner. Meanwhile, they're looking for a dive here. Pop Blossom, and it won't miss this time. Qatar grabs that kill. Gillyman is going to get the hook here, and actually the collapse coming through from Big Boy Gaming. Qatar trying to get away, doesn't have the flash, just trying to set something up here. Flash over from Gillyman, actually not realizing that the cooldown was down and the teleport's on its way. Wonder Ginger looking to collapse. Uh-oh, big trouble here for We Need a Fifth. They're trying to get away. They got one kill, but will they lose more? Rocket grab onto Jackson James. The Galio trying to survive. It will not be enough, though. Pathetic going to grab another kill, and here comes more. Yuhumaniac has now arrived. Big Boy Gaming going to get locked down by the Hextech Ultimatum. He's going to go down, maybe? No, he will survive, but the shutdown onto the Camille, so We Need a Fifth get another back switch. Actually, a 2-for-2 there in the extended trade.
Wow, this game is really starting to pick up pace pretty quickly. Upper Moon again showing that they know exactly what to do when they have champions that need to make something happen in the early game. They are playing very well in setting up these plays, you know, enabling their Echo. Echo had a really good flank there. I do want to say that was a very good job of getting around to where the enemy team did need to escape from and executing that flank properly. But again, I want to stress that Upper Moon, their comp needs to make these plays happen. Like, they have no answer to the Jax and Mundo later on in the game. They're doing a good job in these opening moments of the game and shutting down the Jax in particular. He's already almost down 20 CS. The Camille has 4 kills, so she should be able to snowball that lane matchup. But if things start snowballing in the other way, if We Need a Fifth is able to start connecting Jax with some sort of pickup kill, some sort of any sort of relief in the top lane, he can really run away with that in the late game.
A big lead here, 3,000 gold for Upper Moon, but We Need a Fifth trying to get something back here. Qatar going to use the clone and try and buy some space, but it's going to take a lot of damage here. The Pop Blossom will lock down 2. Can he actually set up the kill? The Rocket Grab will finish it off. It's a 1-for-1 trade. That honestly is not too bad for Upper Moon. We Need a Fifth. It doesn't feel terrible about 1-for-1 trades with the deficit right now, but I think that worked out a lot better than Qatar could have hoped.
Yeah, he definitely looked like he was left for dead there. He ended up just walking straight into the enemy side of the lane, pretty much ensuring that his support would live. It's definitely a pretty good case scenario that they ended up getting a kill out of that.
Meanwhile, topside, Pathetic looking to dominate this matchup against the Jax. Pathetic certainly leading in the kills and gold department, but Ayumi no slouch on this Jax. It's just it's so heavily around the timing for the Counter-Strike. The item lead is definitely in favor of Pathetic. Has already been able to finish the Trinity Force. Meanwhile, Ayumi sitting on the Tiamat and just pieces, you know, a Ruby Crystal and a Dagger. Up into the top side, big trouble here. Ayumi wants to get the kill, but is going to go down thanks to Yuhumaniac. Able to finish that kill on the Echo in the mid lane.
So one thing I do want to point out, this actually happened about 30 seconds ago when the Jax initially got that wave right in front of the tower. Galio actually, okay, first it looks like a fight is going to happen in mid lane. Oh, that Zanya's.
Oh, the collapse is actually coming. Wonder Ginger's in trouble. They're going to try and finish off the Pantheon. He's not quite dead yet, and he actually is going to be able to escape. Yoo-Hoo Maniac able to ult out of trouble, but a beautiful Pop Blossom locks down 3. Yoo-Hoo Maniac's going to grab a kill. The Rocket Crab will miss, but that's still 2 dead on We Need a Fifth.
Great map movements going up Upper Moon's bot lane, grouping up in here in the mid lane to take this early tower. This is a very strong play, especially considering tower plating is going to drop in about 20 seconds.
I mean, Upper Moon continuing to turn this game on its head. You mentioned earlier, We Need a Fifth controlling the first few minutes of this game, but then over-aggressive, they get collapsed on, and First Blood goes to Upper Moon. And now, looks like We Need a Fifth has a beautiful play set up in mid. They get Wonder Ginger a little too far forward. The collapse comes through, but Upper Moon able to pull back just enough. They draw We Need a Fifth too far up the lane, and they immediately punish, get the kills. They're able to knock down the tower, and they're going to grab a second Mountain Drake. What a huge play for Upper Moon.
Yeah, and these Mountain Drakes are very crucial for Upper Moon. You know, they have a team composition that doesn't do very well in sieging and taking objectives in the mid to late game. So the fact that they're getting these early Mountain Drakes so soon will definitely help to alleviate that weakness in their team composition.
And if this game continues the way it has in these first 14.5 minutes, Upper Moon is set up for a triple Mountain Drake in just 4.5 minutes. That's going to make taking those objectives a lot easier for this team. Up 6,000 gold. Just 1 tower to their names so far. So we have to note, we talked so much about the accelerated pace of the game in our first 2 games of the day. And while Upper Moon has been able to keep a fairly quick pace, it's nowhere near kind of the breakneck speed we saw to start the day here. Kills a little lower, but still yeah, a kill per minute. But they haven't been able to take the objectives. And so We Need a Fifth still working with some opportunities here. But there's, you know, a lot of standing gold on the map for both teams. Upper Moon looking to take the Rift Herald here as they're going to clear out some vision around the pit and start up that objective. We Need a Fifth. Thinking about a contest here, but Wonder Ginger just sitting in the brush is going to get a lot of damage on it. Gillyman immediately flashing away, not wanting to give any opportunity to Upper Moon.
Yeah, so you know, Gillyman's been doing a great job throughout the day in terms of his map movements and being proactive on the map. However, I feel like that was definitely a sort of mistimed face check there. You could see that he was walking into that bush at the moment where Mundo and Galio, based on their positioning, were clearly not interested in contesting that Rift Herald. Considering that they were not walking towards the Rift Herald at all, there was no need to really face check that bush. All Gillyman should have been doing there is giving up control of that area of the map, maybe going up top to help back up his top laner and catching a wave, or maybe just going straight back over to bottom to trade sides on the map.
Meanwhile, Rift Herald has been dropped top side of Yuumi. It's going to get grabbed and piled on. Pathetics going to grab another kill, and they may look for you. Excuse me. That is Jackson James here. He's going to get collapsed on Yoo-Hoo Maniac with another kill as the Rift Herald charges on to the tier 2, and everything is falling apart for We Need a Fifth. Now the play down to the bottom side. It's Qatar and Wonder Ginger trying to combine to get some kills here. Pop Blossom is going to finish off the kill. Finch is going to fall, and Gillyman has no hope here. Wonder Ginger going to finish it off with a spear, and it is all going up in flames right now. We Need a Fifth will lose an inhibitor at 17 minutes. This Rift Herald takes 3 towers and an inhib, and will even be able to get a charge most likely.
Yeah, it looks like that charge does
go
off.
Oh my gosh, onto a Nexus tower.
Yeah, so one thing I really love from Upper Moon's bottom lane there is as soon as Upper Moon started that Rift Herald on the top side, their bot lane just went for broke and went all the way in and really forced that all in on We Need a Fifth bot lane. The reason why that was so good is because We Need a Fifth bot lane were the only available players to go back and actually stop that Rift Herald. So all they needed to do, whether or not they actually got kills during that all in, was to just stop backs, keep them engaged, keep them from going back and defending that Rift Herald. The fact that they got kills on top of that play is simply a bonus. But even if they died during that all in, I think that was still the right play coming out of Upper Moon's bot lane.
Just forcing We Need a Fifth to constantly decide what part of the map do we have to deal with. There's pressure all over the place, and they're so far behind that if you match even numbers, if you're going 3v3 or 2v2, you're gonna lose every time. And then it's the decision then if you're trying to overload one side of the map, you're just gonna lose even more. And really, it seems like a lose-lose every time here as Upper Moon just continues to maintain the pressure. And We Need a Fifth is in a very rough spot, down 10,000 gold. 18 minutes, Upper Moon in complete control of this game, looking to buy themselves a ticket straight to the grand final.
Yeah, this is a huge problem for We Need a Fifth, as Bran has no chance of surviving here.
Goodbye, Finch. Pathetic with the solo kill. Trivial here for the Camille.
But yeah, We Need a Fifth. Like I was saying earlier in the draft, they do have very clear outscaling advantages in the Jax and the Mundo. However, due to their team's forms of damage, they're pretty much an all magic-based damage team. When you fall behind this far with a team composition that has one form of damage, your chances of coming back are very, very slim. Basically, they're putting all their eggs in the Jax basket here. And when you have a Camille that fed, Jax is not going to be able to get a split push advantage at any point, anytime soon.
Guitar flashing away here, did go gold, uses the Pop Blossom, but way too late there as the shutdown comes through for Ayumi. A little glimmer of hope here for We Need a Fifth. They've got the numbers advantage. But are they strong enough to even take a 5v4? That's going to be the hook onto Wonder Ginger. Here comes the Gilly Man. Wonder Ginger just trying to buy time. The rest of his team is retreating. He flashes over the wall. He's actually going to escape. Unbelievable here as Upper Moon won't lose any more casualties.
Yeah, but I really like the decision there from Mundo to just click his R. Like, they were just looking at each other in the mid lane, and Mundo just decided, I'm going for you. I probably am not going to get a kill here, but we need to make something happen soon. And I'm just going to click my R and right-click you and hope that something happens. I really like that sense of map awareness from Mundo to know that he had to make something happen in that moment, even if it wasn't so clear on his own screen.
Well, Upper Moon gets exactly what they were hoping for. Triple Mountain Drake. They kept up the pace, kept up control of the map. That means they have the triple mountain with an Infernal next up. If the game even gets to that point, I mean, Upper Moon, if they get, as the death timers continue to grow and you're sitting at triple mountain, objectives fall so quickly, and having already taken an inhibitor in the top lane and a tier 2 in the bottom lane, it's not going to take long for Upper Moon to finish this if they get enough kills in a fight. I mean, an ace almost guarantees the game for them.
Yeah, they are really winning the Dragon Lottery here. Like, getting that first Mountain Dragon is already good enough when you have a team comp that struggles to take objectives. 3 in a row, like that, you basically have all the strengths of your team composition with none of the weaknesses.
Pathetic. Just running away here from We Need a Fifth. Flash in from Ayumi, but not able to have vision there for the leap strike, and that means Pathetic able to walk away. Meanwhile, Upper Moon has started the Baron. It's just the Gilly Man here to contest. Big Boy Gaming on his way over. The teleport's actually coming through for Ayumi, so they want to contest this. Now TP into the
with
pit.
no HP.
Jackson James is here, and it's actually enough to discourage Upper Moon, but looks like they may go for the fight. Jackson James, the Justice Punch right through the rocket grab there. Just able to escape, but Upper Moon, they've got the triple mountain. They want this. They know that the health bars are rough for We Need a Fifth, and they're going to go right back to the pit and try and take this.
Yeah, so once again, the only boon that We Need a Fifth has in this situation is that Upper Moon's team composition is absolutely horrendous in taking Barons. But once again, they have 3 Mountain Dragons, so that Baron is melting way more quickly than it ever should with a team composition like that, and it goes down.
I love the recognition there from Upper Moon, understanding the cooldowns that are available for We Need a Fifth there. They pressure the Baron, force out both teleports, just get out a little damage. They know they don't even have to team fight. They know that We Need a Fifth is already wounded. They just back away. We Need a Fifth has to return to base to heal up, and they go right back into the pit. They know, okay, they've back to the base. They've used their teleports. There will be no response whatsoever for the Baron. They're easily able to secure that, and now just looking to put the finishing touches on an impressive game here. Up, again, 10,000 gold, 17-4 in kills, sitting with those triple Mountain Drakes in their pocket, and they're looking to finish this one off. Want to see where they go. They're looking for the tier 2 in mid lane here.
It also looks like they're going to be setting up a rotation to the bottom lane. Jax did his best to shove that top wave as far as he possibly could. I even think that he probably should have stayed for that tower. I don't think that they'll be able to defend. Okay, actually no, they really need him to defend inhib. They don't really have a very strong form of wave clear. So they're going to need everybody available that they can get.
Big Boy Gaming going to collapse on here. A lot of damage. Good ultimate there from the Blitzcrank, but here comes the collapse. Maniac going to be able to get out of trouble, and that's the shutdown, though, for Finch, actually. Pathetic going to fall here, so we need a fifth, 1 for 0 there, and they're going to hold on for now. They still need to deal with Baroned up minion waves, but their wave clear is solid with the brand. They will live to fight another day. Oh, Gillyman wants it, but he doesn't flash play, and he's going to get punished for it. Qatar with the kill. The hero's entrance way too late here, and the Justice Punch is actually blocked. This is big trouble. Jackson James going to go down. Wonder Ginger with the kill on the Pantheon, and now they're looking for an inhibitor tower. Qatar pressuring here. They're looking for the dive. Humaniac going in. Needs to go for the ultimate. He doesn't actually have it, and he still survives. Meanwhile, Wonder Ginger ulting in behind the team is going to get stunned. The Pantheon should go down here. Wonder Ginger looking to trade a kill back, but he will not. Shut down for Ayumi.
Okay, just a little bit of a miscommunication there from the Pantheon to the rest of his team. Everyone else is running in one direction, and he just ults into a tower in the other direction. But once again, this is some very strong acceleration of the game from Upper Moon. Didn't really go all too well that time around, but they still have about half of their Baron buff left, I would say. So they definitely have time to make something happen.
We may have gotten a reworked Pantheon this year, but the Panth ults are all the same. You ult in, your team goes, oh yeah, you're going to press R, cool, we're going to just run away. Have fun, good luck. Wonder Ginger goes down, he's looking, where are you guys going?
That looks exactly like the Pantheons on my teams in solo queue, that's
There
for sure.
you go. It's like, it's the your Pantheon, and your team's Pantheon, my team's Pantheon. He's like ulting in, just deleting everybody's health bars.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here making fun of him, but throughout the rest of this game, besides that one ult, he's played a near-perfect game. You know, that was his first death so far. He did a great job of controlling the mid lane, a great job of following the Galio wherever he goes with the Pantheon ult. Again, that's one thing I do want to bring up in contrast to the last time we saw this Galio pick. The last time you saw the Galio pick, he was against a Ryze, and Ryze isn't really able to do much in terms of responding to Galio ults. The Pantheon in the bot lane, he did a very excellent job of following the Galio and really nullifying that advantage that Galio typically has with his ultimate.
Wonder Ginger just matching Jackson James across the map throughout this game. Do have to note, Upper Moon were able to pick up their 4th Elemental Drake. It is that Infernal that we mentioned earlier, so triple Mountain and an Infernal. And they easily knock down the bottom lane inhibitor tower, and they may look for a fight here. The pressure in 2 lanes as Wonder Ginger is pushing in mid. Meanwhile, a big minion wave pressuring on the top side. So it's really the full court press from Upper Moon right now, so they're looking to finish off this game. 25.5 minutes in. They're looking for their 2nd inhibitor. We'll make it the first as the middle has respawn, but beautiful rocket grab. Big trouble here. Finch is going to go down. That's the kill for the Camille. Now, beautiful Pop Blossom locks down 4. This is it. Upper Moon cleaning him up. A double kill for the Pantheon, and Big Boy cannot sustain enough. A triple kill for Wonder Ginger, an ace, and Upper Moon cleaning up, mopping up the map with We Need a Fifth. They are going to take the towers, take the Nexus, and they will move on. We Need a Fifth will not be done yet, but Upper Moon will be waiting for a possible rematch in the grand final.
Wow, what a Flash Neagle ult at the end of that game there, getting all 4 of the remaining team members of We Need a Fifth. Wow, I'm pretty in awe about that last team fight. You know, it looks a lot easier since they had such a strong lead, but it takes decisiveness to not only know that you're that ahead and that you need to close the game out as soon as possible, but to send all 5 of your members to one lane and just, you know, push it all the way up, stay there for as long as needed to take that inhibitor and eventually to get that all in. I think most teams might feel like they would be better off 1-4ing there. You know, having one person staying in the top side and staying split up on the map. So I really appreciate the decision to just put all 5 people into one lane. You know, you have the engage to make it work. You have tools like the Nico Flash ult, and it was just a really good way to clean out that game.
Yeah, impressive finish there from Upper Moon, just cleaning up on We Need a Fifth. And as we mentioned, they will move on to our Week 2 Grand Finals, and We Need a Fifth will actually head to the losers finals and wait for the winner of our next game. We will actually see number 730 facing up against Night Raid coming up next. We'll have that game for you in just a few minutes, but we can kind of close out our thoughts here on this matchup, and we do have to mention there's a possibility of seeing this match again, right? We obviously saw an impressive performance to start the day from We Need a Fifth, and they certainly have the opportunity to repeat that against whichever opponent comes out of our next game, so they can get back and get revenge. But I guess the question is if we see this once more, what kind of changes do you want to see from We Need a Fifth into Upper Moon, draft-wise, mentality-wise, kind of how they play the map, anything you like to see them change?
So the biggest thing I want to see them change in terms of how they played the map was they had a top lane matchup there where the Jax absolutely had both the capability to carry that game and the ability. When Camille was 4-1 in that laning phase at around like 10, 12 minutes, you could see that the Jax actually was doing a great job of keeping the HP advantage close. Yeah. The Jax was actually doing a great job of trading well with the Camille. The only point of that lane matchup where the Jax started to fall was when the winning wave was right in front of the Camille's tower. And in that moment, something I wanted to bring up during that game was when the mini wave was stuck in front of Camille's tower, we saw that the Galio started moving up from mid to help alleviate pressure from the Jax and give him an opportunity to push up and actually crash that wave into the tower to achieve a reset and to make sure that he didn't have to stay overextended to stay in experience range and to farm. However, when the Galio started rotating up from mid to topside, Jax backed off of the minion wave, which is instinctively the right play. In most cases, that's the right thing to do, is you don't want to be staying up there crashing the wave against a Camille, because she can do a really good job of setting up the gank with an Echo. But with a Galio coming up there, he needed to stay up on that minion wave, and he needed to stay up and crash it. And the fact that he backed off at the one opportunity the Galio had to help him crash that wave, it basically put himself in a situation where he had no further available options from that point on. If he's not able to crash waves when Galio is walking up, he's not going to crash waves at all. And we saw, like, I think 20 seconds after that point, when the Galio was forced to start walking back to mid, Echo took that as a very sudden opportunity to just jump in and gank him immediately, because he knew that the Galio had just took his one opportunity with his first tempo advantage in the mid game to actually walk up to mid or walk up to top, realize, okay, nothing's happening, I'm going to walk back mid. Echo just came in for the gank immediately. If I was to see a difference between that game and the next game that we see them play, I want to see better communication with the Galio pick. I want to see the Galio player really encouraging his side lanes, like, hey, I'm walking towards you. Do what you have to do to get the wave in a good position. If something happens, I'll be here for you. If a gank, if we counter a gank, if we get a kill out of it, great. But at the very least, use my pressure to control the wave in a way that you have to control it in order to survive the next minute or so when I'm not actually able to ult for you.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Echo there. I think that's an important point because we kind of set that up earlier, talking about the world's meta and its popularity in scrims, but now finding the success on stage. But you made a great point that it needs that setup from the lanes, and Upper Moon did a good job of drafting towards that. And I think it worked out super, super well. Honestly, the Echo was a menace all across the map. Obviously, the Camille, it was kind of another setup where top lane didn't need help. Top lane was going to solo kill, just carry on their own, but the Echo putting so much pressure on mid and bot lane, continuing to just rack up the kills and put We Need a Fifth on the back foot so consistently, and it came through from obviously just the inherent power in the kit and then the setup, right? Making it a lot easier for the Echo to be able to land the parallel convergence and layer that CC and then get all the damage out. So the Echo pick, first game we see it today on the Rift, definitely worked out. We'll have to see where he continues to come up in the draft phases as the day goes on. Will he hit the ban phase, or can he make it through? We've seen him banned once and picked once so far today, so certainly some things to keep an eye on there as we kind of follow the mini meta that kind of shapes with this week's tournament. Just to remind you folks, we are getting ready to see number 730 face off against Night Raid. Trying to keep all these teams in the bracket on track in my head. But yes, Night Raid and number 730 is our next game up on the DACA. Oh, actually a little update for you from production. Night Raid actually has been disqualified, so we will actually go straight to the losers final. So we actually get to see We Need a Fifth once more here against number 730. So this is actually a matchup we didn't see earlier in the day, and we'll have to see if we can see a repeat performance from We Need a Fifth. They need to kind of recapture the magic that they had to start the day against number 730. Number 730 now has the opportunity for a response. Can they avoid what happened to them against Upper Moon, slow the game down a little bit, or be able to accelerate it themselves, because they really did not have any sort of control in their first game?
I think this is a best case scenario for number 730 in the losers bracket. Yeah, sure, it's less than ideal to find yourself in the losers bracket, but they're playing against a team that not only have they seen multiple games of footage of this team playing, but they just saw a game they had a chance to see what works against this team, and they might not have the champion pools capable of punishing in the same way that we saw this team be punished in the last game, but they know what to ban, and they know what the enemy team's counter picks or comfort picks are, and they know what the enemy team's preferred playstyle is. Most teams in a loser's bracket, they don't get all of these boons all in once, all in a line together. You know, yeah, you do get a chance to see your opponents play more frequently when you in a tournament like this where it's double elimination, but they got a chance to see what works right before their game against them. Number 730, they have the information that they need to execute on, and the enemy team does not have the momentum that you would typically see in a tournament like this. So this is a pretty good shot for them to make it happen.
And a funny thing to note, you talk about the boons and kind of those little advantages they come in with, and knowing what works against them. What specifically just worked against We Need a Fifth is Pantheon and Nico. And you know what they drafted in their first game of the day?
They drafted Pantheon and Nico.
So there's an opportunity here. We'll have to see how that shakes out. We're just getting ready for pick and ban there, so we appreciate everybody's patience and sticking with us tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. The games have certainly been entertaining for us, and we hope you're enjoying them as much as we are. Do want to remind you guys of a couple of things. First of all, any social media you guys want to check us out, any more information about what we do here at Esports Arena, you can see the little ticker at the bottom of the screen here. We got everything scrolling: YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, everything. Our link to our Discord server. Any more information about the leagues as well as you want a little something more in depth, you can see it right there on our lower third. esportsarena.com/Walmart gives you all the information you need about everything we're running here. Remember our weekly lineup. We got Late Night League on Mondays, our FPS Tuesday nights, Tuesday FPS with Apex Legends and Overwatch. Wednesday, obviously our Wednesday night fights, always a good time. I always have to remind people, if you guys are in the area, come to our Santa Ana location on Wednesdays. It's an absolute blast. Doors open at 7. FGC is something else, guys. Definitely come and check that out. Thursday, obviously, we got Super Smash Thursdays with our Smash Ultimate tournament. Last week was pretty insane, and I think week 2 is definitely setting up to be another good one. And obviously, Fortnite Frenzy on Fridays, the classic Fortnite tournament. Definitely make sure to check that one out and go to your local Walmart, guys. Always a good time. We appreciate getting new people coming in to check things out, and definitely take advantage of that opportunity if you are local to any of our stores. Getting ready to get into the next game here. While we have a little bit of time, let's have a little more fun, talk a little more about Worlds. We're getting set up for another couple of best of fives tomorrow, and I think the fun part here is we get a little European rematch. We've got Splice going up against Unicorns of Love. Unicorns of Love no longer of the LEC/EU LCS, now playing in the CIS region, but a classic European team, a fan favorite, and now we will see one of these two, at least current or former EU LCS teams, eliminated. So definitely a lot at stake here for European fans with this best of 5 coming up.
Yeah, there is a lot of stake here for sure, but if I was a European fan, I would feel pretty confident. Yeah, Splice isn't the strongest team coming out of Europe, but Europe is definitely looking to like a stronger region, like a much stronger region than what we've seen from them historically. And in Fnatic and G2, those are two very strong teams, I think, going into Worlds, not just out of Europe, but in terms of like top 8 teams in the world right now. I would definitely put G2 for sure, if not Fnatic, ahead of most of these teams in China and Korea coming out. So whether or not Splice is able to take the win tomorrow, as a European fan, I would still feel pretty confident about my region going into Worlds.
And I think the one benefit you get there too is the fact that the competition that Splice has had to deal with throughout the year, right? They've obviously had stage games against G2 and Fnatic, playing against some very, very tough competition there. And you can guarantee they've been scrimming against G2 and Fnatic throughout the early parts of the tournament. So they've had very, very quality practice partners throughout the early stages here. So even if, you know, kind of the conventional wisdom right now is you've got G2 and Fnatic up here, and then there's quite a significant drop, as most people would say, down towards Splice. But Splice are no slouches as a team. You know, you got to respect any team that qualifies to Worlds.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, they've been putting in the time against very quality opponents in scrim. So they should be coming in against Unicorns of Love thinking, you know what, we've put in the work here. We've got an opportunity to take out Unicorns of Love and, you know, kind of maybe say, hey, you know, there's a reason you're not in the LEC anymore. You know, we're the team here. You know, you get your first shot at Worlds, but, you know, you're not going to get any farther than play-ins.
Yeah, you know, one thing that you mentioned that I really like is the fact that they do have high-quality scrim partners in G2 and Fnatic. Typically, what you look for in scrim partners is not only do you want teams that are actually strong, teams that actually are contenders to win it all, but you also want to be playing against teams that will push your understanding of the meta. That will be introducing champions that you and your analyst staff had no idea were actually possibilities. You don't want to be caught off guard when you're actually on stage and be like, oh, crap, that is actually a character that we had not planned for, let alone thought of in this entire month leading up to the tournament. That is the last thing you want to do. That's the last position you want to be in as a coach and as a coaching staff. And G2 is a team that I think is always constantly pushing the boundaries of what can be played in a meta. So having them as a dedicated scrim partner is definitely a huge boon for Splice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing against Fnatic and definitely G2 in scrims, while you may not, you know, it doesn't necessarily guarantee you the most correct read on the meta, you're going to have the most diverse read on the meta. You're going to understand there's going to be way more solo lane picks that are a possibility there. You're going to get some weird bottom lanes, the Garen Yumis, things like that, that are actually showing up a little bit in the current meta. You're going to get to see a lot of that. So there's certainly opportunities there. But enough Worlds talk for now. We are going to kick right into Champion Select here. Number 730 versus We Need a Fifth in our losers bracket final. And we are into Champion Select. We'll have to see how things shake out in the ban phase here, as there's been an interesting focus now towards the top lanes, as both top laners were so dominant in the first two games in regards to Ayumi and Pathetic, and we saw then that heavy shift to punishing those players in the pick and ban phase in game number 3 of the day. And we'll have to see if that continues, as again, we won't see Ayumi on the Tryndamere. Has been banned out consistently against him today. The only question is, We Need a Fifth were the ones to ban the Aurelia in the previous game. And the question is, do they leave it open for Ayumi to possibly pick and maybe set number 730 pick away? We'll have to keep an eye on that.
I would doubt it. You know, they're already putting in the Tryndamere ban for Ayumi, so I would be pretty surprised if they end up giving Ayumi a comfort pick when they've already dedicated ban towards him in the top lane. But again, we'll see.
What is available now? We'll see if We Need a Fifth bans it. No, they're going to take away the Fiora. So possibility for Ayumi to get the Aurelia here if it falls through this first pick. Bans, as you can see on your screen: Pyke, Nunu, and Tryndamere for number 730. Ryze, Morgana, and the Fiora for We Need a Fifth. And it's actually going to be an immediate lock-in on the Camille with the first pick, Yasuo there. We saw it was banned earlier against Ryze, his namesake taken off of the board. Okay, wait. We also need to notice his club name, or his club tag, is Ryze as well. So that's Ryze. Not playing Ryze this game, but that's Ryze. We Need a Fifth going to take Camille and
the
Lee
insta-lock
Sin.
Yi.
Okay, this is spicy. We've got Master Yi, Lee Sin, and Yasuo. 3 of the first 4 picks here. This is going to be a fun one.
Wow, I'm kind of floored by that insta-lock Yi. You know, he doesn't even see the rest of the enemy team composition. He doesn't care at all. He just wants to have that hyper carry. He wants it now.
Yeah, must like something about that Lee Sin matchup there. As the Shen will be the 3rd pick for number 730. So something a little more conservative in the top side. Also something we have to note is a bit of a change up here from number 730, shifting around their players in terms of roles. Because as things sit right now, we would have Almacon in the jungle with OG Bosch bumping up to the top side, and then Asylum, who really struggled in that Riven versus Aurelia matchup in their first game of the day, now down to the support position. Sandvillain, I like him staying right where he was. I think the Caitlyn was honestly pretty good, all things considered. Just really didn't have enough of a team around him in terms of gold and levels to be successful. But we will see Jackson James going back to the Galio here, that had a couple of effective plays in the last game, but obviously wasn't enough for We Need a Fifth to win the game. So we'll have to see how that pans out for Jackson James this time around. Heavy focus to the bottom lanes here in the second ban phase. Soraka, Kaisa taken off by We Need a Fifth, and the Brand banned away here. Finch won't get that for the 3rd game in a row as number 730 bans that.
I would expect a Thresh ban here. Considering they already put a ban on Brand.
I would like that. Oh, okay. Finch looking for another mage in the bottom lane here. Is going to lock in the Syndra. Something we've seen played quite a bit by the likes of Perks. Has been playing it for quite a while. I've even seen Sneaky playing it on stream, so quite a few professional bot laners picking this up as one of those mage options. So Finch doesn't get the brand, but will get something else magic damage-wise there. And still pretty spread out damage profile from We Need a Fifth, as they obviously have plenty of physical damage in the top jungle combo.
Yeah, that Syndra bot lane is really, really a strong threat. Finch is really showing that he's able to pick these very unconventional bot laners, and that's definitely something that can throw you off, especially when you're a bot lane player that doesn't play enough solo queue to really get enough exposure to these off-brand, well, no pun intended, to say he actually plays brand, but these off-brand meta picks. And here we see the Xayah Rakan, a tried and true combo. Alistar is a great pick into Rakan. I typically do like seeing champions like Alistar, like Leona picked into the Rakan. Not so much a Morgana. These are champions that are proactive, that are able to, as soon as the Rakan goes in, your Alistar, your Leona is able to go right back in and either push away the follow-up damage from the Xayah, or to push the Rakan forward, split the Xayah and the Rakan up, and focus fire the Rakan down.
And I want to go back to something here that you mentioned earlier in the day, and it's kind of the split, the damage profile for your team composition. For the better part of League of Legends history, if you looked at a composition that like number 730 has put together, physical damage, top to bottom, that's it. You are bringing pretty much just physical damage to the table. You look at that and you're terrified because you're thinking, man, that tank on the other team, his build is going to be so efficient, so easily. He's just going to build all armor. We're never going to do any damage to him. He's going to be such a nuisance in team fights. But you talk about it. You mentioned it earlier when we were kind of breaking down the way the meta sits here on the current patch, where we're not seeing tanks.
Yeah.
Almost at all. And when you don't see tanks, it doesn't matter. You can go all physical damage. Nobody's building resistances on the other team anyway, and it means that you can go into this heavy physical damage composition and be just fine. Sure, the Alistar, Gilliman will be able to heavily focus into armor himself as the tank support, but your income is so low that unless the bottom lane is really, really big for We Need a Fifth and just dominating, it shouldn't be too much of a difference for the Alistar here. So interesting to see that heavy physical damage composition picked, and it should be just fine as we just look at things out of draft.
Yeah, really the only champions that are able to, like you said, take advantage of the all physical damage is Galio and Alistar. And Galio won't typically have a very clean way of actually countering that physical damage of coming out of number 730, since Galio in the current patch does have to build full damage. He's not really considered a tank so much as he used to be. So that's a very good observation, I would say. Yeah, like they're not going to get punished at all for going full damage here, looking at this team composition. Something that I'm much more interested in seeing is how is this Syndra going to really punish the Xayah? We haven't seen Finch on anything else today besides Brand. So something that comes along with that as a player is he's not warmed up on the Syndra right now. He's been playing a lot of Brand and only Brand. He's going to have to take a very decent shift in like what he's playing in the laning phase. One thing that's fortunate for him is that the Brand and the Syndra function pretty similarly in bot lane. You typically just use your range advantage to land residual damage throughout the laning phase. But his brand lanes have been pretty much a lot easier to execute on. Gilliman has been doing a phenomenal job of landing a lot of hooks, a lot of plays in the laning phase to help set up Finch for these short burst trades. But in this lane, a Syndra Alistar, it's really on the Syndra to make things happen. The Alistar is really functioning more of a counter-engage tool than something that's actually going to be able to just walk up and WQ the Xayah unless Xayah really has a major misposition error. So I'm interested to see if he's able to execute on that as well as he's been able to with the Brand.
And something we actually have to note that I actually only noticed now is we actually have a substitution in jungle for We Need a Fifth.
Oh, really?
No longer Yuhu Maniac there, as I believe that's who it was earlier. Gerby coming in and playing the Lee Sin for them. So bit of a shift there. Different roster. Hopefully it can work out for We Need a Fifth, because it would be quite the fall from grace with how well their day started. If they follow that up with 2 losses here and just get eliminated from the tournament, that would be a big feels bad, man.
Yeah, that would be tragic, especially considering how strong that first game that they played ended up being.
Yeah.
Like they ended up having a huge game 1 today. To go 0-2 after that first game would be really crushing. One thing I'm really surprised to see is that substitution in the jungle. Not only is it a substitution, but that guy insta-locked Yi on like the second rotation to pick ban. Like that is a huge substitution. Totally runs counter to what they were trying to execute on in their first game in the tournament. So they're definitely putting a lot of value behind this guy's Master Yi. There's a huge reason why they put him in. There's a huge reason why they allowed him to pick Master Yi that early in the draft. They definitely have a lot of confidence in this guy. I'm really looking forward to see if that confidence is well founded.
Should be a good one. About to get into game here. We've got our losers finals here. The winner will move on to face Upper Moon in Grands. Definitely a tough opponent to look forward to, but they can't look too far ahead. They need to focus on this singular best of one to keep their hopes alive this week. Remember, folks, just want to remind you kind of the format we have here in Late Night League for anybody that's new, anybody that may have forgot. Teams will battle it out every week in bracket-style setups, just depending on the amount of participants in the West and Central, and fight for points. Teams' top finishers each week will been a long day. Pardon me. Top finishers each week will accrue points that collect throughout the season. The first 7 weeks you can win points with double points in weeks 6 and 7. In the top earners in the West and Central will represent their respective regions in the grand finals in week number 8. So something on the line every week as people and teams push towards the end of this season. And obviously cash on the line all the time. So teams want to take that sweet, sweet green stuff home with them, as well as get ready for the end of the season. But we are on to the Rift, number 730, and we need a 5th, battling for a spot in the grand final as we are on the Rift. And Rise just taking a sweet time getting out of base.
Yeah, come on, man. You can never be late coming out to your 5-point in a tournament match like this.
You can't actually. It's actually a rough start here.
Yeah, if I was Rice's teammates, I would be yelling at him. I'd be like, "Hey, man, where are you, man? Come on, we need you in this 5-point." But you know, in this game in particular, it doesn't end up being that big of a deal. Neither teams really have a team composition that can benefit from an invade. They don't have really strong ranged CC tools. So I guess in this game in particular, it doesn't matter. But you know, it's the least you can do is to run out of base at 15 seconds flat.
And I would just like some Fs in chat for the lack of Skinnergy in the number 730 bottom lane. Obviously, there is no IG Xayah skin, but Sandvillain and Asylum not coordinating in the skins department, and that's just not great. That's sad to see.
Good word from the Alistar coming out. That ward should help him keep track of where the Lee Sin decides to, or no, where the Master Yi decides to path from after this red buff. Although, you know, Master Yi did see the placement of that ward, he could choose to just walk around from the other side of that bush right by birds. We'll see what happens.
Elmacon will get this start on the red buff here. Yeah, 2 new junglers here. As we mentioned earlier, Almacon swapping from support up to the jungle position, and the substitution with Gerby coming in for we need a 5th. So definitely a shift on the map here, and we'll see which one of these junglers can have the bigger effect on the map. I think it's fun. You talked earlier, just trying to break down early this bottom lane, and you obviously get the Alistar, which is a pretty solid counter into the Rakan, but Xayah Rakan just such a solid, steady bottom lane here. And we'll see if they are able to build any sort of advantage through laning phases. Ayumi going to take some damage from OG Bosch. But there certainly is a lot of potential for we need a 5th to get things going, because the Syndra obviously can bring a lot of damage to the table, and there's tons of setup for Gilliman just based on the champion he's picked in the Alistar, as well as just the way he's played throughout the day. You were singing his praises earlier for his Thresh play, and
Phenomenal
I think
Thresh.
Yeah, and I think well deserved. He's been I think one of the highlights of the day. Even in the loss, I think he looked very good outside of a little bit of over aggression. So we'll have to see how his Alistar looks here and if he can set Finch up for success. But up to the top side, Gerby looking to pressure the Shen here. Bosch needs a getaway. Love it. Gerby just holding on to the resonating strike. He will follow Bosch and force out the flash, and he's still going to get the kill. First blood for we need a 5th.
And for all of you Shen players out there, that is why you do not use taunt to engage on a trade. any time before 4 minutes without seeing the enemy jungler. The only reason that gank worked so smoothly is because Shen did not have taunt up and ready, and it was a really good decision by Gerby to come up there in that moment.
Oh no, Almacon is going to be punished. Ayumi's going to grab the kill. The beautiful flash there to set up the stun, and the Rakan going in aggressively here. Finch going to get knocked up. He's going to be able to land the feather and get a little bit of sustain. Sandvillain will take some damage from Finch. Trying to get those feathers out. But great job topside from We Need a Fifth. Able to secure 2 kills there and punish number 730 early. As
clean
Gillyman
combo.
going to go in. Yep, sets up the stun for Finch on the scatter of the week. Sandvillain will survive, but good trade for We Need a Fifth.
Oh, well, I mean, I said that was a clean combo because mechanics, execution-based, from an execution-based perspective, that was really clean by him. Like a flash WQ from Alistar, that's not the easiest combo to execute in League of Legends for sure. But they weren't even really close to a kill at all there. Like they were so far from a kill that he didn't even bother using Ignite.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, like as the Xayah there, I'm feeling really relieved knowing that the Alistar doesn't have flash anymore, but it looks like he just walks right into the range again.
Oh, he's going to use Ignite this time. Sandvillain ticking away. Good job there from Finch, able to secure the kill. More than happy to trade flashes there, and that is another kill for We Need a Fifth.
Okay, Gillyman just put me in my place. What excellent aggression coming out from We Need a Fifth's bot lane. I really can appreciate that flash max range Q from Finch under tower to secure the kill on Xayah. That's showing some really strong recognition of his limits and some really good comfort on this champion. He's definitely showing that he's more than confident to pick up whatever picks that going for another dive.
Oh man, easy
that
setup
way too
there.
Easy. Yeah.
I gotta say, before you could even finish your criticism, Gillyman just saying, "Man, hold my beer for a second."
Yeah, I don't even know what to say about him in the bot lane anymore. You know, like he's time and time again, Gillyman is really showing that he is phenomenal in not only knowing when to go in, but in executing mechanically so well in the bot lane. This guy's really impressing me with his support play.
OG Bosch going to take some damage here. It's cool to mention we haven't seen a ton of familiar faces early on in the season. Hawaii versus Gaming, a returning player in Almacon, but really the majority of the rest of our player pool so far this season has been brand new to Late Night League, and I think it's great because now we're starting to see some of those early standouts. Gillyman, wanted to mention there. Ayumi has been great, pathetic in the top lane as well. So some of those, newer stars for Late Night League showing up here in week 2 and, trying to make their names known. Rise on the Yasuo, actually down in CS to this Galio so far. So Jackson James holding his own in the laning phase, better than he did a game ago. And Ayumi putting up quite a bit of pressure on the top lane, doubling the CS here for OG Bosch. Shens don't win a lot of lanes, but they're typically able to lose fairly gracefully. But it doesn't help that Bosch gives up that early kill, and Ayumi able to get the early team at and really start to force Bosch to farm under his tower as Almacon is going to be spotted out in his jungle, isn't caught by the stun, but here comes the Galio. Almacon doesn't have the flash, and Ayumi just going to get the solo kill.
Wow, that looked way too easy again from the Ayumi, from Ayumi. Just as soon as he saw Mastery, he knew this is a guy that I can kill as long as I go for it. And very decisive. Galio was there to tell him, hey, I have my eyes on you. Go. Whatever happens, I'm here for you. This situation should go well for us. And that was some pretty good execution, pretty good communication coming out from Galio.
You wanted to see the communication improve from We Need a Fifth. You mentioned it at the end of the last game, and it has shown up very well so far as Finch looking good on the Syndra so far. We mentioned not getting to repeat the brand again, and Jackson James actually with the invade here is going to get the taunt onto Almacon. Can he just blow him up? The Winds of War will finish it off, and the solo kill as Almacon is safe nowhere on the map.
Oh, and they're going for the dive on the bot lane, it looks like.
They certainly could. They don't have the ultimate available from Jackson James to assist, so it would be a little risky.
Interesting pathing. Looks like they won't get punished for it.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say though is this is the second time We Need a Fifth has used their control of bot side river to deny the second or third. I think the last game was the third red buff. This game was the second red buff. No, actually both games was the second red buff from the enemy jungler. They are showing some very, very strong presence of mind of knowing when and where they have vision control and how to use it properly.
Oh, big trouble in the top lane. That's going to be the kick from Gerby. Boosh Bosch, excuse me, is going to try and taunt away. Flash is there, but the resonating strike lands true and finishes off the kill. Now in the mid lane, Jackson James looking for some more damage as the dive has happened now in the bottom lane. Gillyman taking it. Finch is going to secure the kill in a well-executed dive by the bottom lane.
Wow, We Need a Fit's bottom lane is just showing so much prowess in all of these laning phases today. Gillyman and Finch, they are really showing some next level dominance, and I think not only in the champions that they're picking, but in the execution of these kills. We are seeing them just put on a clinic in choosing when and how they want to kill these champions. And all of these deaths, it looks like there's little to no counterplay for their enemy bot lane counterparts. You know, this is a really strong performance coming out of them.
And I think it's funny to mention because the way we saw things shake out earlier in the day, we were looking at this bottom lane and thinking, man, that Brand Thresh is really scary. It's going to be some trouble for Rise. The Tornado is not going to land. Rise going to flash away, but the flash in from Gillyman. He will lose his life here. So Rise with the Ignite is able to trade that kill back 1-for-1, but we looked at this bottom lane and we went, wow, the Brand Thresh is really scary. You don't want to give them that. Don't let them take those picks out. They're very, very dominant on them. We're thinking, you know, those got to be their #1 champs. But now they bring out a completely different bottom lane champion-wise, but similar play style with the Cinder Alistar. And I got to say, they've looked better than the Brand Thresh, especially Gillyman. And his Thresh was good, but I think the Alistar has been impeccable in these first 10 minutes. Yeah,
they are showing some really strong dynamicity. Like, I really like how you mentioned the execution of these. Oh, that's a level 6 Xayah. Won't be a kill just yet. Oh, that was a really early ultimate, though. Syndra can't go for it. It looks like her ultimate is down from what I can see, so maybe not quite yet. But with Syndra having ult up coming soon and Xayah without ult, that might be a dead Xayah in the very soon future.
Meanwhile, the Mountain Drake does fall there. Gerby able to secure that one. Really, Sandvillain just thankful that Gillyman wasn't nearby, because if so, that almost definitely would have been a kill for Finch. Luckily able to survive in the 1v1. Oh, beautiful
combo.
Setup. Gerby sets up the kill. The kick is beautiful. Jackson James takes down Rise.
Wow, nice play, Gerby. That was really sick, gotta say. Really taking advantage of the fact that Yasuo did not have flash. He just blew it like moments ago. Really good presence of mind to go visit that flashless lane early and effectively.
Gerby just showing off with the clean insect in the mid lane to knock down the Rise.
No,
wow, the Scout of the Week nearly finishes off the Xayah on its own. And now they're looking to finish off Asylum. They've got the tanky cow. Asylum actually able to get out of range, but he won't be able to escape any further. Finch gonna get the kill. But Gillyman's actually in trouble here. This should be a kill for Almacon. Scout of the Week, is it up? That's the heal. Almacon actually can't get it. The Scout of the Week is gonna land. Here comes the Sting United from Bosch, but it's actually the teleport from Ayumi. They could go for this. That's going to be a stun on Almacon. He's going to go down. Ayumi with the kill, and that's a 3-for-0 for We Need a Fifth.
This game is starting to really get out of control for number 730. Oh, Gillyman going for another dive.
He's probably going to go down. No, he's just able to get out of tower range. Almacon already dead, and Bosch just barely survives. Meanwhile, Rise will get the ultimatum and get the gray screen right after as Ayumi shows up in mid and immediately grabs the kill.
So one thing I do want to commend Gillyman on that dive earlier was, so it's pretty easy for an Alistar player to be like, yeah, I have ult, I can tank tower for like a good like 10, 20, maybe 30 seconds. But Gillyman did a great job of, when the Rakan started running the opposite way towards the towards We Need a Fifth side of the lane, which does indicate, yeah, he's probably going to die. Gillyman stayed there and tanked one more tower shot. If he didn't take that tower shot, Syndra would have probably gotten low enough for an opportunity for number 730 to actually make some sort of counterplay. When Yi did show up and Syndra was able to fend off the Yi, Syndra was only really able to do that because she was so healthy. But if she took just one tower shot, I think Master Yi might have had a chance to get a kill in the last like second or two of his ult duration, and that could have resulted in a much different scenario there. Master Yi might have been able to come out with that with a double kill. But because Gillyman did such a good job of tanking that extra tower shot, that situation was not a possibility at all.
Meanwhile, folks, you would have just seen Almacon going down once more as Gillyman continues to be just a menace across the map. Can we talk about the fact that we're looking at a 12,000 gold lead at 13 minutes into the game?
Oh my goodness.
We talked about the insane pace that We Need a Fifth played with earlier today, and they have topped that completely. And it's only going to grow. They just dropped Rift Herald topside. Finch continues the pressure in the bottom lane by himself, though Gillyman is on his way here, and Sandvillain, I think, is dead. forced the flash away under tower as the kick right into the Galio here. The 2v2 topside is not going well for number 730. Rise is going to go down as Gerby grabs the kill, and they're looking for another 2v2 dive. But Ayumi is here as well. They're going to just collapse the kill for Gillyman, and they're looking for more. Down goes the Xayah. That's a 2-for-0. The taunt is going to land for the Galio. Another kill. And Almacon, the only member of 730 left alive as we're near 14 minutes. And that gold lead just went from 10,000 to 12,000 to near 15,000 here at 13 minutes, near 14.
Oh, goodness. You make that 16,000 already. We need a fifth. You know, earlier today, they did show an ability to really close out a game like very, very quickly and in a very accelerated manner. But in this game in particular, we've seen a new side of them. Like, not only is it fast, but they're offering little to absolutely no counterplay from number 730. There's only one kill to their name. There are no towers on their side of the map. You know, like in the previous games where We Need a Fifth was able to accelerate the game like this, they were showing at least some signs of sloppiness. But in this game in particular, almost none. Bounties across the board, by the way.
And it's crazy because we kind of set up the storyline before this game, right? That We Need a Fifth is coming off a very, very rough loss to Upper Moon. And we were thinking, hey, 730 may have the mental advantage here, right? They get the free win with the DQ of Night Raid, and they get to come in after, as you mentioned, getting to see 2 games of We Need a Fifth. They understand what their strengths are and what they've been able to be punished at, as Bosch taking a lot of damage here. The solo lanes combining there. Ayumi going to get the kill. But we had a ton of confidence in 730 as also have to mention Sand Villain nearly going down. Yes, nice. Gillyman will secure the kill. They're not going to go further on that dive, just backing away. But we had a lot of confidence in 730, and really, we have to credit We Need a Fifth. They did such a good mental reset between their last 2 games. As they won't let me finish my point. Rise is going to get the last breath, but it won't secure a kill. Finch is going to take that one. Asylum soon to follow. Gillyman will survive the double kill for the Syndra. And We Need a Fifth at 25 kills in 15 minutes.
This is mind-numbing. The level of dominance that is coming out of We Need a Fifth is absolutely terrifying. Like, the next team that they are going to be playing against must be quaking in their boots if they were coming in with a similar game plan of number 730. I doubt that. I don't think many teams would actually just pick a Yi like that early in a rotation. Oh, here we go for another play.
Sand Villain with the disrespect, just walking face first into Ayumi, not even canceling the back, and Ayumi just says, all right, fine, I'll take a free stun and a free kill, as Xayah will fall. They're going to do it again? Wow. Rise lands the tornado, but he's at least respectful enough to walk away from the Camille. I mean, it's sad to say, but it really feels like number 730 has just kind of had a mental boom here. It's beautiful insect by Gerby there to set up the kill for Ayumi. And it just feels like 730, we're 16.5 minutes in. They've got a single kill to their name and no towers. And I mean, this game is over. Let's be clear. This game is done. Yeah. We Need a Fifth has won this game as handily as you can, 16 minutes and 45 seconds in, and it's a shame. I want to credit number 730 for, coming out today and playing hard. It's been a rough day for them, but they faced off against a couple very tough teams here, and sadly their day will end with a very, very tough loss to We Need a Fifth.
One thing that you mentioned earlier was that number 730, they did have the champion pool capability to bring out picks that We Need a Fifth showed that they struggled against. Picks like the Nico, like the Pantheon. But in this champion select, it looks like they were not at all interested in trying to replicate those results. They went and picked their own very wildly unique champion pool. Champion select. And it is not working out for them at all as they're getting dove under their mid and hit tower.
Yeah, already 4 dead here for number 730, and that will be the finished ace. Number 730 able to get their second kill as they do shut down Finch there. So the Syndra does fall, but it doesn't matter until We Need a Fifth. They're able to take that mid inhibitor, and near 18 minutes, they're looking for Nexus towers.
Yeah, they are probably absolutely going to get them. I think at this point, even though it will be a 4v5 when number 730 do respawn, There's just way too much of a level and gold difference here. There's probably no way that they can stop them.
Oh, man.
While taking tower shots.
Health bars just melting so quickly for 7-3-0. They're still trying to preserve their base as best they can. Rise having to flash away from the Kimio. Actually, that's the last breath. Could set up the kill, and it will just be a trade, though, as Ayumi still so strong, able to finish that one off. Now Gerby still here with Jackson, James, and the Gillyman. Tower will fall. It's now just the exposed Nexus as Gerby tries to get in to set up another insect. It's going to be the double taunt. Do they have the damage? The Winds of the Ward doing so much. Gerby just not quite able to finish it off with the resonating strike, but the Nexus is taking the damage. It's 3v4. Do they stay for it? They're actually going to kite back. This could just be a beautiful bait as Finch is nearly here. They're going to have the damage from the Syndra. Beautiful scout of the week. Catches two. It sets up the double kill for Gerby on the Lee Sin. And that's going to be all she wrote, folks. Teleport coming in from Ayumi to join the team. They may dive onto the fountain. They'll get one kill, make it a second, possibly looking for the ace, but they'll just finish the Nexus. And we'll get the rematch we were looking for. Upper Moon and We Need a Fifth will be our grand final in week 2.
The destined match. You know, these two teams, they really are showing just next level dominance against all the opponents that they're playing against. I think it was pretty clear from the start that these two teams were going to meet each other again in the finals, and I'm really excited to see, you know, will we see the results of the past replicate themselves? Will we see picks like Pantheon and Nico really take apart this team, or will we see more controlled playstyle from both of these teams? You know, these are two teams that are very aggressive and have similar playstyles. The last time they met, the Champion Select dictated that only one team could play as aggressively. So we'll see if, you know, these teams are able to change that in the Champion Select, to be able to facilitate their own aggression and, you know, put out a display that they are showing against all the other teams in this tournament.
And it's weird to say this with the way things have played out in the broadcast. The tournament today has been actually very entertaining. We've seen very fast, very kill-heavy games, but very lopsided ones. One thing I actually am hoping for here is we get the rematch between We Need a Fifth and Upper Moon, and I'm actually hoping for a closer game. I'm hoping that We Need a Fifth has learned from the mistakes of their game against Upper Moon earlier, shift their draft priorities a little bit, and clean up the early game against them to where I'd like to see these two teams just go toe-to-toe, keep things close, and let's go to 25, 30, 35 minutes and see who can take it. We'll find that out very soon. We are going to go to a break, but don't go anywhere, folks. When we return, we've got our Week 2 Late Night League Grand Finals presented by Esports Arena when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, we have returned. Yeso and Latman here preparing for our grand final matchup between Upper Moons and We Need a Fifth. The way things shake out here, we're going to a best of 3, and Upper Moons will just have a 1-game advantage there. So either way you say it, we've got 1 game coming up that if Upper Moons can win, they will take the title. And if you are We Need a Fifth, you need a victory here to reset and have the opportunity to finish things off in Game 3. But we are straight into Champion Select. And one thing to note, right off the bat, Pathetic gets the Aurelia first pick. But one thing to note, Ayumi gets the Camille that he was very successful on in the last game.
He's very well practiced on that Camille right now. I think this is going to be, his 3rd game in a row with it?
Yes, it didn't work out in the first game, but the second one obviously looked very well.
Wait, actually, no. That first game that he lost, he was playing the Jax.
Yes,
my bad. Yeah,
you're correct.
So this is the 2nd game in a row with the Camille. But that game, his mechanics on the Camille looked very clean. Yeah, it was a very one-sided game, but Ayumi's performance mechanically looked very strong. So I think he's very confident bringing the Camille into Pathetic's comfort pick Irelia.
And apologies, we did mix up names on a couple of junglers earlier. It can be a little hard to keep track of all the different teams when we're kind of picking up names as we go. But it was Yuhu Maniac, the jungler for Upper Moon, coming back here. And one thing to note, Gerby actually is Big Boy Gaming, who we saw playing for We Need a Fifth earlier in the day. We typically have League unlocked for our late night League nights, and actually just hasn't been working for us tonight. So that is Gerby and Big Boy Gaming just swapping accounts to make sure he has access to the champions that he needs to play here. And it could be the Jax this time around. Interestingly enough, Silas has actually hit the ban table a couple of times tonight, but will make it through this time around. And something to note, Upper Moon banning away the Lee Sin that Gerby played in the last game that was very, very clean. So, and we're just going to stick with Gerby. He's playing on that account. It's him, Big Boy Gaming, same guy.
It's a better name anyway. I like the name Gerby. Short and sweet.
A little easier to cast. Big Boy Gaming not hard, but that short, sweet one, makes it a little easier on us. We're hitting that 2nd ban phase, and some focus down to the bottom lane here. Again, Morgana hitting the ban table very, very consistently tonight. And the Syndra banned away by Upper Moon.
Probably going to see a brand ban here.
It has got to be a brand, right? You don't want to give Finch either of the comfort picks that he's played tonight. Make him show you something different. And we won't see the Twitch jungle that Yuhu Maniac was very successful on earlier in the day. And there's the brand ban confirmed. But
and he falls back on the Veigar.
The Veigar will come through. Something that we saw Qatar play earlier in the day very successfully with Juicies. Pyke, we'll have to see if We Need a Fifth maybe goes for that lane combo themselves. Certainly an opportunity there. Now Veigar will be locked in for Finch, so he will keep it up on the bot lane mages. And now Upper Moon with the opportunity to respond. We're looking for support in jungle, I would assume, because we're probably going to bet that Nika will go to Qatar. Pyke locked in here, so We Need a Fifth won't have the opportunity to grab the Veigar Pyke lane. And just last pick here for Upper Moon. We'll see how this composition will shake out.
Yeah, right now they do have plenty of forms of CC right now. So this last pick from Juicy Russ can be anything, really. Xin Zhao, definitely a champion that doesn't have CC himself, but he's definitely got lanes that, they'll cover that gap for him.
Yeah, actually a lot of CC, again, brought to the table. Yuhu Maniac, again, playing, as you mentioned, one of those lower CC champions in the Xin Zhao, prefers to have some setup from his lanes. But Pyke, Galio, Nico, and Aurelia all bring that to the table, and We Need a Fifth. They don't get the Pyke, but they look for some more of that aggressive all-in potential to pair with the Veigar, and it will come through in the form of the Leona for the Gilliman. Not electing to go for the Alistar or Thresh that he played earlier in the day to much success. Switching things up, though, with still some more CC in the bottom lane. And we were correct with the Nico going down to the bottom lane for Qatar, and Wonder Ginger back on the Galio that he played earlier on in the day. So some players returning to some comfort picks, but interestingly enough, We Need a Fifth outside of the Camille playing all new picks across the board. Obviously, we saw the Jax earlier, but it was in the hands of Ayumi, so first time with Gerby on this. So while Upper Moon goes back to a lot of comfort picks, we need a fifth, shaking things up here in the draft phase. We'll have to see how things shake out there, but let's talk about the early game here because it's been so important, right? 5 to 15 minutes has determined every single game we have played today. And as we look at the compositions that these two teams have put together, if you're giving one team an advantage in that 5 to 15 minute mark based on draft, who do you got?
Well, it's pretty tough considering that both teams do have all 3 lanes with CC capability to set up jungle ganks. I do think I have to give it to Upper Moon since the Xin Zhao Jax matchup early on should favor the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao typically is a jungler that is insanely strong in the opening, like first 15 minutes of a game. A couple things I do want to point out in terms of the draft. One, Yoo-Hoo Maniac and Upper Moon as a whole, they do a very phenomenal job of allowing Yoo-Hoo Maniac to pick whatever jungler he wants to pick, whether they do or do not have CC, based on the lanes that they pick for him. They are constantly picking lanes that facilitate their jungler, lanes that don't really have all too much damage on their own in the early game in terms of the Galio and the Nico in the bot lane, and they make up for that lack of damage with the jungler. Yoo-Hoo Maniac does show that he has the presence of mind to path towards those lanes that have strong CC for him, but maybe not as much damage as they need to have to clean up kills on their own with their own CC, you know. So that's something I do want to commend Upper Moon for. Another thing I want to point out is we need a fifth. They have a very unique draft dynamic where they are constantly last picking support, or at least saving the support pick for the second rotation for Gilliman. In the previous game so far today, I think that worked very largely in their benefit. Gilliman was showing a very phenomenal job of knowing when to pick his comfort thresh and when to switch over to a pick like the Alistar in a game where Alistar had a very strong, very definitive function. However, this game I think is the first time that Gilliman has made a mistake in his champion selection. I think in this game, he did see the Nico and the Pyke already because he was the last pick in this entire champion select. So he absolutely had the option to go for the Alistar, but instead he went for Leona. Leona with a Veigar, it's not really a lane with that much cohesiveness. I think an Alistar would be able to set up in the same way that Leona would want to set up, but would also provide the forms of peel necessary to allow Veigar to do what he wants in the mid game. On top of that, Nico is a champion that can absolutely survive against an Leona. Pyke as well. These are two champions that if Leona goes in with her EQ, she's probably not going to be able to effectively chain with her ult. If those two champions, because both Nico ult and Pyke dash are spells that can buffer out of a CC. Whether or not that's intended by Riot, essentially what that means is if the Leona isn't absolutely perfect on her timing, and if those guys are spamming the heck out of their button to like get out, even if Leona lands the stun with her third spell, they will still go into either invulnerability flames with the Nico ultimate, or the Pyke will be able to dash out even while stunned. So Gilliman, up until this point, he's been showing very phenomenal skill with not only with the champions he's picking, but his execution with these champions. But I think this game is going to require another level of degree of coordination from him and his AD carry, and just precision on his part.
Should be a fun one to watch. One of the interesting things we followed in terms of mid lane, because we've seen a lot of Galio tonight, and the consistent thing we've touched on when the Galio comes out has been the ability for the other team, and specifically the opposing mid laner, to respond to the hero's entrance. And the fun part we get this game is we talked earlier about the Rise, right? And how he can follow up on the ultimate, but it's never as fast.
Yeah.
You're always going to be late. But now we've got Wonder Ginger playing the Galio into a Sylas. And Sylas is just going to take that hero's entrance and do it himself. So now the fun part is, can the Galio adequately respond to his own ultimate coming from his enemy mid laner? So that's going to be a fun part, right? We can see both of these mid laners trying to use the Galio ultimate to try and get to these side lanes and affect things. And so that sets us up for what could be some very, very fun fights down in the bottom lane, with both mid laners trying to come down there and make some fun things happen. Will be interesting to follow how these things go. And then once more, as I think they've been some of the peak performers tonight, we look at Gerby and Yoo-Hoo Maniac as the jungle position has been extremely important throughout the day.
Yeah.
So influential, and we talk about that 5 to 15 minute mark, and it's been heavily dictated by jungle and support. And we'll have to see who gets the advantage here, right? Because Yoo-Hoo Maniac did it last time, was very, very ahead of Gerby and just heavily dictated the pace. And now Gerby needs to respond. He's on the Jax here into the Xin Zhao, and he has his opportunity. We'll have to see how things shake out.
Yeah, it is worth mentioning that Yuhu Maniac does have the champion matchup once again to, I think, push things into his favor in the early game. It cannot be understated. Xin Zhao's early game is insane. It is very strong. That is pretty much the only reason you pick him, is so that you can pick whatever fights you see in the opening 15 minutes of the game. Typically, the only other reason you would pick him is if the enemy team has a full ranged composition, so that Xin Zhao ult gets a lot of value in the late game. But that's not something that we're seeing in this champion select. So we have to see Yuhu Maniac either really make this pick pay off in the opening 15 minutes or risk falling behind extremely to this Jax pick. Jax, again, is a champion that can scale very strongly going into the mid game. One thing I do want to point out is I like that you mentioned Sylas and Galio's interaction. Going to be really entertaining, going to be really interesting to see who is able to get priority on the first move into those side lanes. If I had to guess right now, I think it might be the Sylas, because actually no, it might be the Galio, because the Galio has a Xin Zhao, and Xin Zhao should be able to open him up through mid, but we'll see what happens.
Definitely going to be fun to follow. We may have a 5-man spiciness here at level 1. They actually have the perfect setup here. Gillyman's in the brush. They just don't have the spell quite yet, but that's the charge on the hook, but it's actually too late. That's a misplay by Upper Moon. You need to lead with the pike hook, hug the wall, and you just charge it up. As soon as you step out of the brush, you're throwing that into the bush. So a misplay there. They don't even force a summoner spell there out of Gillyman. So sadly, the 5-man setup is executed well all up until, you know, the moment it needs to work out. So
yeah, that's doubly as that's really underwhelming. That's really unfortunate, because you almost never in a 5v5 competitive match get the opportunity to sneak into that bush for an invade, because you will always see the enemy mid laner rush, you know, straight into the mid lane from Fountain and see you walking into that bush. It's so rare that you actually get the opportunity to execute that invade, and it usually has a pretty high success rate. So, you know, it was so simple to just let the pike lead. And it's really an unfortunate way for that invade to not work.
Well, both junglers starting on their respective red buffs here. We'll have to see if anybody tries to make some early action happen. While these junglers do not need level 6 for their ganks, they obviously need that setup CC from the rest of their team, but they do have it
Xin Zhao going for
lanes.
level 2 gank, by the way, on mid lane from bot side.
Yeah, the problem is Wonder Ginger has the early push here, so Jackson James is actually closer to his tower, and Yuhu Maniac will just back away, go back to clearing his red side jungle as he heads over to his Raptors camp. Bot lane, we mentioned it earlier, the Pyke and the Leona, a very volatile matchup. A lot of possibility for action. Gillyman, I love it, just calling the bluff there from Juicy, just stands right next to the wall, avoids the hook there, and some damage coming out from Qatar, but actually a good setup here. The CC chain on a Qatar, burning from the Ignite. Can Finch get in for the follow and the kill? Flashes for the auto, and that's first blood. Barrier trying to survive here is Finch, but Juicy is going to be able to trade back. But that still works out very well for We Need a Fifth. Flash away from Gillyman, but he actually flashes the wrong way. He's going to go down here, will not escape. That's the route from Qatar. The damage coming through, and everything was going We Need a Fifth's way from the start, but Upper Moon responds.
You know, that was, up until that very last moment, Gillyman played that so beautifully. Like that kill on the Nico, that was a kill that absolutely would not have happened if Gillyman had not done such a good job of staying on the Nico and keeping every auto attack on the Nico while not giving her a chance to increase distance, to create space for herself. But if he just ended up flashing towards the enemy tower when he wanted to dodge that spell shot, and that's really the only reason that I think he died there.
Yeah, just flash back towards your tower, you would have been fine and would have escaped with a win in that trade, but instead Upper Moon gets 2 kills back. They're up 500 gold. And Qatar going to be able to get some poke onto Gerby here as he moves towards this bot side Scuttlecrab. And we haven't touched on it a little bit, but we mentioned earlier that we get the fun top lane matchup here. The Aurelia comes back for Pathetic and Ayumi on the Camille. He was so successful on in his last game. The top laners have been huge carries for both of their teams in largely solo efforts. Not seeing a lot of jungle attention outside of the last game where Gerby actually had a couple of great early ganks onto the Shen. And there's a possibility for this matchup to get very volatile. We'll have to see how things shake out. Here's Wonder Ginger continuing to push Jackson James under his tower, actually getting great damage there as the passive comes through. And Jackson James actually very low on mana here, has to respect Wonder Ginger. Winds of War comes out, Gerby on his way to the lane will leap strike onto a minion, but no further follow-up as Wonder Ginger can back away.
So a couple things. Both of these teams are definitely showing that they're very warmed up and they're playing around jungle properly. At the top lane earlier, Ayumi did a very good... Oh.
Counter-strike, the taunt lands for Wonder Ginger, and Gerby just has to back away. He's burning from the Ignite. One more auto attack actually from Wonder Ginger would have secured that kill. So Gerby actually lucky to escape with his life.
You know, I think that was actually pretty solid play from Gerby overall. You know, when he showed up mid, he showed up at a time where he knew his mid laner was getting bullied out of lane and needed a wave reset. And the only way he was going to get that reset was if Gerby stayed in the lane and actually helped push with him. Then on top of that, not only did Gerby help him get a push advantage, going for another flash engage here.
Oh, Gillyman's in trouble, doesn't have the flash, trying to escape, but is going to get knocked up by Yoo-Hoo and taken down by Qatar.
Awesome early game pathing from Yoo-Hoo Maniac once again. He's constantly going to the lanes that have CC and are allowing them to set up the kills for him. Actually, he only has 1 assist so far. This bot lane has been doing work on their own parts. But I do want to point out that in the mid lane earlier, Gerby showed up when his mid laner needed the wave to be reset. He stayed in the lane and pushed with his mid laner until he was clear to go back. And then on top of that, he forced a trade knowing his limits on the enemy mid laner and baited out his Ignite. This is putting a lot of pressure off of the Sylas and is allowing the Sylas to get into the mid game in a very clean and concise way. Another thing I want to point out is Ayumi did a great job earlier in this laning phase of when the wave was pushing towards him, he backed off completely. He didn't even try to stay around for like a max range sweep kick for a last hit because he knew that was the only point in the game where Xin Zhao could possibly land a gank on him in the early game, and he knew the value of a Xin Zhao getting that first kill on his first clear. And I'm just really impressed so far with how these laners are playing around their junglers.
We've mentioned it so many times with how important the early games have been throughout the entire game, throughout the entire day. Teams able to accelerate the pace between that 5 and 15-minute mark to take control of the Rift. And we'll just take a moment after this fight here as Wonder Ginger actually has to flash away. The teleport coming in from Ayumi, and Yoo-Hoo Maniac going to get the kill on a Jackson James. Pathetic is here as well, going to dash in, not going to get any stuns as it was already used, and Ayumi can get away from pressure with a 1-0 for Upper Moon. But kind of want to take stock here of the map here. I think it's important, as we mentioned, with how things speed up to understand where we are here at that 7-minute mark. 4-1 in kills as Wonder Ginger is going to back away. Actually going to get caught in the Hextech ultimatum. Double taunt here. As here comes the Jack Gerby. Going to go in, but just caught in the ultimate from Pathetic. The collapse from Upper Moon will be too late to secure any kills, but they discourage any further aggression from Wayne.
Veigar might be a little bit overextended here, by the way, in the bot lane.
Wonder Ginger keeps stepping up here. Oh, they actually get Gillyman caught. Wonder Ginger is going to grab the kill, and they punish the over-aggression. We talked, Gillyman has been so aggressive throughout the night and has produced so many good plays for We Need a Fifth, but he gets punished that time.
Yeah, absolutely. His aggression is being punished properly by Upper Moon here. And another thing I do want to point out was during all of that, Finch actually overextended for the mini wave on bot side. And Upper Moon, you did mention that they were late on collapsing to mid lane in response to that play, but they did do a good job of hiding their movement on the way back down to bottom and eventually punishing the Veigar. Veigar now has no flash, and that's a pretty huge summoner spell not to have against a Pyke.
Tries to get a little bit of poke out there as he catches the Upper Moon bottom lane inside the event horizon, but the waves very much in favor of Upper Moon here as they're crashing a second one into this tower. As good stun topside there for Pathetic. The collapse is coming in. Meanwhile, they're fighting in the bottom lane. Gillyman actually onto the Pyke, and the Nico will go down now. Juicy having to get away. Will eat a little bit more poke.
Oh, I bet Gillyman's going to go for it. Yup.
Yo, there's the flash, the sword. Then Juicy's going to go down. Gillyman going to grab the kill on the Leona.
Wow. I would not have expected Leona's last auto attack there to actually secure the kill. That is a lot of damage on that sword swing. A lot of action going on both sides of the map this time around. I think, was it Ayumi who got the kill on top side during all of that, or was it?
No, Ayumi went down. Pathetic actually collapsed with the help of Yoo-Hoo Maniac to secure that kill. Oh no, wait. Ayumi got away there?
Looks like he did. I guess the kill was on Sylas, who actually ended up rotating up top to help Ayumi out of that situation.
Gillyman going in here actually is going to lock down the Qatar, and the Event Horizon will land. The CC chain, but the Pop Blossom will lock down too. Here comes Juicy. Down goes Finch, and Gillyman will not catch up to the Nico. Maniac grabs the kill.
Absolute tragedy, and that is exactly what I was talking about before this game started. You know, this is a champion in the Nico that can absolutely handle Leona's all-in, even when you play it as perfectly as Gillyman and Finch played it there. That CC chain was, I think, just about as optimal as it could have gotten. But you know, it's just a little too. It's just not enough. You know, with the Nico ult, with the Nico barrier, she's so hard to kill, especially even when you have champions like the Leona and the Veigar CC chain.
Impressive from Upper Moon there. Right when it felt like we need a fifth, was getting a foothold in this game. They were closing the gold gap. They had gotten a couple of kills and punished the Upper Moon bottom lane. Upper Moon immediately responds. They get Maniac back down to the bottom lane. They punish We Need a Fifth for daring to go near their tower. And up 8-3 in kills. And with a 2.7k gold lead, Upper Moon feeling very good here at 10 minutes.
I think Gerby just now tried to use the Blast Cone to get around and punish Upper Moon for overstaying for a tower plating stack, but he ended up popping the plant a little bit too far on his side and didn't actually close the gap to go over. Just something I wanted to point out there. Kind of funny. Definitely a long day, and it seems like the players are feeling it as well.
Fatigue can certainly start to set in. Even on the West Coast, we're sitting at 10:15 at night as Ayumi backing away to the tower. We'll just farm here, and the Rift Herald is actually going to be dropped. He cannot cancel that from Maniac.
3 culminating here.
Yeah, Gerby up near the top side, but 3 members of Upper Moon will be able to secure that charge from the Rift Herald onto the tower. But here's the Hextech Ultimatum coming out. Here comes the collapse. The Silence is here, and Maniac's in trouble. He's getting collapsed on. So much AoE damage, but Wonder Ginger actually just able to solo out Ayumi, and Pathetic is popping off as well. It's a 2-for-1 as the Rift Herald continues to beat on the tower. Meanwhile, Qatar going to take some poke here. Gillyman will stun Juicy, but Upper Moon may go for the response here. Good pull. There's the Pop Blossom. The damage onto the Leona, but it's just traded back 1-for-1 here as Finch will take down Qatar.
And I'm pretty sure Pyke should be... Oh, never mind. He has no damage behind that ultimate. He has to get out of there now.
That's very aggressive. Finch low on mana, and Juicy able to buy enough space there to survive. That was a hopeful ult from the Pyke. Doesn't work out, but he at least escapes with his life and isn't forced to use his flash. But that's a few more kills. Overall, a 3-4-2 across the map in favor of Upper Moon as they continue to grow that gold lead.
So something I want to point out, we mentioned before this game started that Maniac had to make a lot of action happen in this early game to make the Xin Zhao pick pay off, and he absolutely is doing just that. So far, he has 7 kill participation out of 11 kills, a very high kill participation, nothing to laugh at. And you know, Jax Thunder's side of things, he has only 1 kill out of 5 from his team. That's 20% kill participation compared to what, 7 out of 11. That's above 50 at least. I can't run the numbers right now. It's a little too late in the day, but essentially, Maniac is doing a great job once again of visiting his lanes with strong CC forces. I mean, in this game, it's all 3 lanes, and doing a great job of accelerating the pace of the game for himself.
Juicy able to escape from trouble there as Gillyman goes in. It's something, I think it's about 65%.
Oh, he's stuck. He has no flash.
Maniac in trouble. Here comes the hero's entrance as Wonder Ginger is here for the help. Gerby has to run away as Juicy going to try and chase him down. Drake will be secured by Maniac. Upper Moon has it. Now they're collapsing onto Ayumi. A lot of damage onto Maniac, but he will survive for now as his team is here for the assist. All 5 members of Upper Moon are able to chase We Need a Fifth away. They get the second Mountain Drake, and they escape with their lives.
What a decisive call there. Maniac was basically sneaking that dragon right under the enemy's noses. Oh, another all-in happening in the bot lane.
Pop Blossom from Qatar will lock down Gillyman, but nobody else. And that engage actually stifled by We Need a Fifth as Qatar did want to go in and start some action with the Pop Blossom.
Yeah, that looked potentially fatal from Upper Moon. You know, it looked like they were definitely going to get a kill there, but We Need a Fifth, landing a very clutch 4-man ultimate from the Leona to really stifle any chance of an engage follow-up there. Something I wanted to talk about earlier, Maniac, that Dragon Sneak was really right under the notices of We Need a Fifth. Like, while they were contesting for bot river vision and trying to invade the bot side jungle, he was just over there sneaking that dragon. And then as soon as he was discovered by the enemy team, he had the presence of mind and, you know, proactive communications so that his team was on there immediately. As soon as he got discovered, Galio was there, Irelia was there, and Nico and Pyke got there like seconds later. I think that's some really good communication and really good decisiveness coming out of Yuhu Maniac.
Juicy trying to go in here. Qatar wants to get something done, isn't able to land the root. That's the barrier from Finch, but Finch is just out of mana and is going to get executed by Juicy. Meanwhile on the top side, Pathetic going to get stunned by the Counter-Strike, cannot get in for the kill. The shutdown for Ayumi, and Wonder Ginger going in on Jackson James, trying to take out the Silencer. He's going to Black Cone, but he went the wrong way. The dash in for Yuhu Maniac, the flash finish from the Sin Sao, and Upper Moon gets their man.
Okay, actually, I thought it was Galio who hit the Blast Cone there. If that was Silas, then, you know, that was less than optimal for sure. Blasting yourself into the enemy team, definitely not what you want to happen as Upper Moon takes the first tower of the game.
It might have been the Galio. Those are just quick little plays. They're hard to see sometimes when and whose auto attack lands there, but either way, Jackson James goes down, and Upper Moon is feeling great right now. Up 5,500 gold. They're looking to knock down some towers here. They've got their first in the bottom lane.
Staying proactive.
Juicy. Gonna get caught here, but actually just able to time the flash there to get away from trouble. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Wonder Ginger pressuring onto that tower. Ayumi is here. Actually may get collapsed on. Good pull in onto Finch. He's stunned. Can Pathetic get the kill? That's going to be the Event Horizon to lock down the Aurelia and the Pike for now. And here comes Gerby. Meanwhile, Yuhu Maniac trying to escape from trouble, but he's going to get collapsed on. That's a 3 versus 1, and Ayumi able to grab the kill. Here comes the teleport from Qatar. Root will miss from the Nico. We need a 5th, backs away 1 for 0.
So I think that was a little bit of a miscommunication from Upper Moon's part. Just now we saw Galio was splitting on top side to take that tower, and after he took that tower, you would have expected him to start walking down to bot side instead of crashing the wave fully into the next to the inner tower if his team was looking for a fight. But just now we saw that Galio actually opted to stay on top lane and farm 1 additional wave. So considering that, there's actually no reason for Yuhu Maniac to have been in that bush. The rest of his team was in a position where they could actually contest for vision, but from a safe part of the river, a part where they could disengage and create enough time for Galio to eventually walk down and help counter-engage. But Yuhu Maniac put himself in enemy lines, where he was encountered by the Camille, and that accelerated the pace of the fight to a point where Galio did not have time to actually clear 1 more wave and then walk down to the counter with his ult.
In the mid lane, the Pop Blossom is going to go off, and he's going to go gold. Beautiful setup as the damage comes through from Qatar, but it may not be enough. Wonder Ginger is going to go down. Finch going to grab the kill onto Qatar. That's the shutdown as 2 are dead on Upper Moon, and we need a 5th. Is not going to go down without a fight.
Wow, the action is just really spiking up for We Need a 5th here. They're absolutely making a comeback in this game. Looks like Aurelia will be trying to force an engage here.
Yeah, Pathetic wants to go in, but it's just going to get deleted. Kirby with the kill, and now Yuhu Maniac is in full retreat, but cannot escape. Finch is going to grab the kill. That's 4 dead for Upper Moon, and We Need a 5th has full control of the map. Drake is up in 45 seconds, so Upper Moon will be able to contest for this 3rd Mountain Drake, but man, We Need a 5th, getting some much-needed gold and closing the gap here.
Yeah, you know, just 3 minutes ago, this game looked like it was going in a completely different direction. Upper Moon was ahead by, I think, 13-6, and all of a sudden it's 13-11. The kill score is much more even. The gold score is only 3,000 apart. This is becoming a much more competitive game by the minute. One thing I do want to point out was the timing for Upper Moon to have died there was very suspect. It was fortunate that they managed to clear the mid-minion wave before they started putting themselves in a position to get engaged on, so that We Need a 5th was unable to create any sort of counterplay with those kills. That's definitely something that's very fortunate for them, but they do need to exercise a little bit more discipline in between these objectives.
We were curious how this top lane matchup was going to work out as Pathetic was back on the Aurelia that he was so successful on earlier in the day. Now Yumi with the 2nd Camille game in the row that was very, very good for We Need a 5th in the losers finals as Finch forced the flash over the wall as Upper Moons goes in aggressively, and that's actually Gillyman walking straight into the hero's entrance, is going to get taunted back. The Leona will fall, and here comes the flank. Good Pop Blossom locks down 2. Upper Moons wants this fight. Jackson James able to get away, and Ayumi will escape for now. But wow, what a beautiful flank from Qatar to force We Need a 5th away, and this is the triple Mountain Drake.
Yes, you know, we were mentioning that We Need a 5th was definitely making the right moves to get back into this game, but all the odds are stacked against them. Once again, Upper Moon has found themselves in the situation where they have triple dragon. I'm kind of mind blown that we're seeing 2 games tonight now where the first 3 dragons are all mountains and one team has gotten all 3 of those dragons. And once again, this is a team composition that does need all 3 dragons. Like they are a composition that absolutely struggles with Barons, even more so than the last team that we saw that had 3 Barons, because that team at least had a Twitch. This time around, you know, these 3 dragons are going to play a huge role in Upper Moon being able to maybe not take towers, since they have basically a full melee composition, but they'll definitely have control over any future dragons and the Baron when it eventually spawns.
The funny thing is, what I was trying to set up for before that fight at the Drake was the difference in top lane. Ayumi has looked very good to start this game. The scoreline looks good at 2-1 and 3, and before that fight, there was a gold gap. Pathetic had not been able to finish the Trinity Force yet, while Ayumi had finished it and also bought the Tiamat. But with that fight, and Pathetic going back to base to buy, as Ayumi in big trouble here, is going to get stunned and taken down by Pathetic. So this will only accentuate my point here. Pathetic now has the Tiamat and the completed Trinity Force and the gold he just got from that kill. So what was a significant lead for the Camille just 2 minutes ago has totally shifted, and Upper Moons is looking terrifying. They grabbed their 4th tower. We Need a 5th has none. And a gold gap that got closed down to like 2,500 gold has now grown again back to about 6K.
Yeah, so suddenly too. I think one thing that really helped accelerate that disadvantage that just happened for the Camille was that Veigar and Jax just now were both seen farming a mini wave together on top side. That is something you absolutely cannot let happen at this level of play. That is, oh wow. Pyke showing that he can pretty much escape just about anything, surviving both a Leona and a Veigar ult. But going back to what I was saying was, basically you cannot allow 2 farming champions in one side lane at the same time. That is essentially one of the sole reasons why Upper Moon was able to take a free tower off of that Camille kill. At the very least, they should have been able to rotate mid to bottom and top to mid to hold that inner tower on bot side. But because Jax and Veigar were both caught so far out onto the map, that bot lane tower ended up being completely for free.
Upper Moons returning to base, spending the gold in their pockets. Meanwhile, We Need a 5th just trying to get some vision control, trying to create some safe pockets of the map that they can move around in. Baron is live. There's obviously a huge threat there with the triple Mountain Drake. Meanwhile, Jackson James getting collapsed on, forced to flash over the wall as Juicy shows up to assist his jungler. And We Need a 5th needs to maintain vision around this Baron pit, because otherwise Upper Moon will be able to take it so fast. They're going to start it right now. And it's another case of seeing Finch farming a side wave. They spot the Veigar on the bottom side of the map, and they immediately say, we can go for this Baron. Qatar going to be able to use the Blast Cone, makes it a little more difficult for We Need a 5th to get into the pit. The Baron is already at 2,100, make it 15. Kirby going to look to go over, but he can't even get into the pit. That's Baron Nashor for Upper Moon at 22 minutes.
Great timing on that stun, by the way, from Pathetic. You know, you do know that he was looking at the Baron, you know, obviously attacking the Baron, but that entire time his focus was solely on the Jax, making sure that he was ready and able to time that stun to deny Jax any chance of a counter steal. I was actually initially worried about that Baron take because that was pretty much the only way We Need a 5th had to get back into this game, was to, you know, steal a 50-50 Baron. But because of Pathetic's presence of mind there to zone the Jax with that stun, it was not a 50-50 at all. One thing I would have liked to have seen in future Baron takes from Yuhu Maniac as a Xin Zhao is to position himself between the Baron and the Jax, so that if Irelia wasn't so on top of that stun, he would be in a position to Xin Zhao ultimate way.
Meanwhile, Qatar here just looking to 1v2, but here comes the rest of the team as they're going to just dogpile and We Need a 5th. This is big trouble.
Wow, so
Juicy
fast.
takes down Ayumi, that's 2 dead, and with Baron buff, Upper Moon has an opportunity to break the base. They're all grouped up on the top side. They take the tier 2, and there shouldn't be any defense here from We Need a 5th. They cannot defend this top lane inhibitor. They will concede it to Upper Moon. And still 15 seconds on the death timer for Finch. They may look for more here. They've got a bit of a minion wave. They can stay.
Well, they absolutely could, but, you know, they're opting to play it a little bit safer. You know, they are 1 game from winning this series. The last thing that they want to do is throw at Nexus. I can absolutely respect the call at this point in the tournament to go ahead and dial it down, the aggression just a little bit, and back off.
Yeah, I agree. I like the respect from Upper Moons here. They just rotate to the mid lane, pick up another minion wave, and they're looking for another inhibitor. They're going to take the tier 2. easily their 7th tower of the game, and they'll actually just back away.
Oh.
Here comes Gerby. Oh, the beautiful Heroes entrance, and will just knock up one, but it separates the team. Gerby takes down Qatar. The Pop Blossom is not enough, and Juicy is able to get a kill in return. Oh my gosh, they're turning it around. Upper Moon looking for more. Gillyman's gonna fall. Juicy goes gold, the double kill for Wonder Ginger, and that fight turns on its head. It's a 1-for-3 in favor of Upper Moon, and now they're looking for the inhibitor.
And we need a fifth at this point in the game is really lacking a strong form of wave clear, especially with this Baron buff. It looks like Upper Moon could opt to take at least one Nexus tower with this minion wave, if not more. It looks like they're rotating top to Baron up another minion wave.
Yeah, Juicy gonna go in. They're gonna try and catch out Finch here. He's gonna go down. Maniac with the kill. They're looking for the ace. That is it. Finch has just left the game. Upper Moons are looking set up to win. They're actually gonna have to back out. We'll have to see if We Need a Fifth can reconnect their bot lane, or as Finch just DC'd immediately after dying there. 2 died to the tower there as Upper Moon has to retreat. Gerby wants these kills, is looking to chase it.
Get him,
Pike
Gerby.
gonna miss the hook. Counter-strike set up, but he's gonna get collapsed on. Okay, the reconnect
Gerby.
comes through, but the Pop Blossom set up, and the Galio grabs the kill. Gerby falls, and Upper Moons returns to base.
Dane, you know, I could totally see Gerby's perspective there. You know, like he's down 2 inhibs. You know, he sees a lot of low champions. He's out for blood. But he just ended up chasing the enemy team from his Nexus all the way out into the mid-outer tower. You know, that's a long enough distance that dead enemy champions, they are going to be respawned at that point of time. They are going to have the time to walk out into mid lane and actually save their teammates if you're chasing that far.
He was just acting as a distraction. He wanted to buy time for Finch to reconnect. It's all a part of the master plan. Don't worry.
So tragic for Finch. The reconnect and see your jungler dying that far out into the map.
To immediately DC.
Yeah.
And then you look over at your teammate's PC and you go, oh wait, you guys are defending? Oh, let me get back into the game. The tilt is real. We need a fifth. I mean, they really need a miracle right now. Down 12,000 gold, just over 12,000 here to Upper Moon, who looks set up to cleanly close out this game. You know, one little hiccup dying to the towers there, but it's already going to go gold here. Actually going to be able to juke out the Solar Flare. Is able to get into the Pop Blossom and locks down 2. Here comes the Clash. Pathetic trying to pop off. It's already a double kill with the execute for the Pike, and more will follow. Triple kill for Juicy, and it's just Finch left. This time, I don't think the disconnect will matter. Ayumi has left the game, and Upper Moon will leave the base in shambles. Your champions in week number 2, a huge win for Upper Moons as they run the bracket and take down We Need a Fifth.
And such a dominant showing from Upper Moon today. I don't think they dropped a single game. I don't think any of their games even looked that close. You know, that game, I mean, for about like 5 minutes, that game started to look close when Upper Moon did give away, like, I think 4 kills in the mid lane. But they immediately, you know, snapped themselves right back into shape, got right back down to business. I think 3 minutes after, within 3 minutes of throwing that slight lead away, they had already, you know, resized the gold gap. They pulled ahead another 5,000 gold, made plays on both top and bot sides of the map. They just showed a really strong, really dominant performance today.
And an impressive mental reset in the middle of a game, right? Kind of recognizing, oh, we made a couple of misplays here. You know, this is a solid team. They can come back. We need a reset. And they go back, you know, buy up, clean things up, and immediately come back. And as you said, reopen that gold gap. Immediately establish themselves again as being in control of this game. And an impressive performance from them throughout the day. As you mentioned, this was, interestingly enough, the closest game of the day, but recognizing what the pressure points were and when they needed to back off, when they needed to play aggressive, and it pays off with a huge win. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. They totally deserve it. And that was not an easy team to beat. That team, Gilly was showing some very, very strong performances from the support role. You know, that Leona pick, if it was any other champion besides Nico, I think he would have done some really incredible things. Throughout the entire day, he was showing such strong performances mechanically on all of his support champions. And he showed some very strong mechanical performances today on the Leona as well. But, you know, it's just unfortunate. The Leona pick didn't really work out today.
Yeah, just a shame. A great performance throughout the day from Gillyman, but, you know, Upper Moon really seeming to be his kryptonite, the only team that was really able to punish that aggressive play. But, you know, It's a good team. You really shouldn't hang your head dropping one to Upper Moons because they were impressive today. But that is going to do it for us here tonight, folks. Closing out week number 2 of Late Night League. Remember, we've got much more action ahead of us as we're in just week 2 of 8 here for Late Night League. And you know what? If League isn't quite your cup of tea, remember we got Super Smash Thursdays with Smash Ultimate, our stream on Thursdays here at twitch.tv/esportsarena, as well as Fortnite Frenzy on Fridays. Make sure to come and hang out with my friends Blendy and Red Star for that cast. That's going to do it for us tonight, folks. My name is Yeso. My good friend Latman over here to my right. We had such a blast with you guys tonight. We'll hope you see you guys again next time. Have a good night and enjoy the rest of your week.